You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and also streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. And you can follow us on TikTok, on the good TikTok, at the Zach Gelb Show. Whole lot to do today. We're rocking and rolling, jamming out with you all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Ryan Hot Take Hickey joins us in studio at 3:40 p.m. Eastern time. And we may bring up Penn State losing to Oregon. We may bring up our Mets choking away their season. And we may bring up Adonai Mitchell also choking away a game for the Indianapolis Colts. And also, the legendary Psych Mampter has sent me a package. And I don't know what's in this box, but I got instructions from the legendary Psych Mampter that I'm sending you a package, and it's for Hickey. So we are going to open this live on the air at 3:40 p.m. Eastern time. And oh yeah, by the way, I've been in the lab today. I've been in the studio today. We will have a brand new Hickey Hex coming your way at 3:40 p.m. Eastern time. Danny Kanell, he will join us. Wow, we're really just abusing people today. We're going to abuse Hickey over his Indianapolis Colts and his New York Mets and his Penn State Nittany Lions. And I'm sure we're going to abuse Danny Kanell over his Florida State Seminoles losing to Virginia. But now we'll see if they could bounce back, as they do have Miami this weekend in Florida State, Miami. And then Anthony Lima from 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland is going to stop by at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time, 2:20 p.m. Pacific. And Samter may abuse Anthony Lima, because right before the show, Samter goes to me, I go, we probably should get a Cleveland Browns guy on today, with Shedeur Sanders still being the third-string quarterback, Joe Flacco getting moved to QB2, and then Dillon Gabriel getting moved all the way up to the tippy top, and he's going to be starting for the Cleveland Browns. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Ho, ho. Coming up on Sunday up against the Minnesota Vikings. So I tried for our guy Nathan Zagora. It just didn't work out. And I said to Samter, who else could we put on? And we all love Ken Carman, but Ken does TV during our show, so it's tough to get Ken on, and it's inconvenient for Ken to come on our show while he has get him ready for TV and all that stuff, because, you know, they probably put a ton of makeup on Ken to get him ready for TV anyway. And then I said, what about Anthony Lima? I like Anthony a lot. And Samter goes, you know, that mother bleeper hasn't responded to me in about 3 years. I go, really? Anthony Lima has not responded to your text messages for 3 years? So we confirmed that it was the same number, and I said, let me try him. Within about 15 seconds, Anthony Lima sends me a message. Would love to come on. What exact time? I have my kids today, and I guess the mom is out of town, or she's just not available. Maybe she's at work. And I would love to just put something on TV and talk to you for about 10 minutes while my kids do whatever in the house. So I said, yeah, no problem. And Samter, a little sensitive today. A little hurt in his feelings, because Anthony Lima directly responds to me within 15 to 30 seconds. And Samter's been waiting 3 years for a text back from Anthony Lima. So we will have some fun with Anthony Lima today at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time. And I want to know what Samter did to Anthony Lima, where Anthony Lima now will not respond to one Michael Samter via text. All righty, let's get to the biggest news of the day. The Cleveland Browns are turning to Dillon Gabriel. Now, the order of the depth chart is important. Dillon Gabriel is 1. Joe Flacco, who was the starter, is now moved to 2. And Shedeur Sanders is still at 3. You know what that's telling me, folks? And it's obvious. Whether you think Shedeur Sanders should play or not, whether the moment Dillon Gabriel makes a mistake, gets a ball batted down at the line of scrimmage, throws an interception to the Minnesota Vikings and that really good defense of Brian Flores, regardless as to what happens, the moment there is going to be a negative play by Dillon Gabriel, fans will be calling like they called for Tim Tebow, as they will be calling for Shedeur Sanders to play Shedeur Sanders. Now, I know the game's not in the U.S. this week, but there will be people on social media, in the stadium, not in the stadium, all around the world that are going to say, Dillon Gabriel made a mistake. I want to see Shedeur. Why isn't Shedeur playing? The reality of the situation is, whether you think he's ready or not, whether you think he should play or not, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry don't have any intention of actually playing him anytime soon. Because from a logical standpoint, old man Joe Flacco is done. He started the first 4 games of the season. Now you're going to Dillon Gabriel. Why wouldn't you just bury Joe Flacco, number 3 on the depth chart, and move Shedeur Sanders up? And it's because they don't think he's ready, or they don't have any intention of playing him anytime soon. So what you're doing The moment you say, hey, Dillon Gabriel made a mistake, play Shedeur, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your breath, you're wasting your time, and you are wasting anything by saying, hey, Shedeur needs to play. Now, you may be right. Maybe Shedeur gets on the field and he turns out to be a good quarterback in the NFL. It's still inconceivable to me that he fell to the 5th round. And I know what I've been told, right, in the pre-draft process. He didn't take the interview seriously. He tried to dictate where he did go, blah, 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 blah. Even with that being said, for what he displayed in college, if you want to tell me, and I thought he should have been a first-round pick, that he's not a first-round pick, you would have thought, oh, definitely in the 2nd round. And then when he's out in the 2nd round, you thought, oh, definitely in the 3rd round. The fact that he fell through the 4th round and then ended up going in the 5th round still doesn't make sense. But what have you been told about Shedeur? Don't be a distraction, right? Shedeur is a distraction. That's why people passed on him, because they didn't want a backup quarterback if you had an established starter. They didn't want a backup quarterback being a distraction. Well, Shedeur Sanders is a 3rd-string quarterback. And quite frankly, for the first 3-4 weeks of the season, has Shedeur really been a distraction? Not really. Have we really talked about Shedeur Sanders all that much? Not really. We played that one clip from last week. And obviously the kid wants to play. Obviously he believes that he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. You need to have that confidence. You need to have that aura, as the kids say. You need to be that alpha. But when you're a 3rd-string quarterback, people really don't want to hear from you. Now, Shedeur, I guess, did live up to that end of the bargain today, because when the media went to him, he literally didn't let them hear from him. He pretended to be a mime. He pretended not to actually speak. That's what he did. And in one way, I look at it and I say, oh, that's funny, right? It's funny. But in the other way, I'm saying to myself, is that professional? It's not. Whether you think it's funny or not is irrelevant. You know what the narrative is around you. You know you are a 3rd-string quarterback, and people are saying, just put your head down, go to work, and don't be a distraction in Cleveland. And whether that mime video was in response to Rex Ryan, whether it was before the announcement or not, it doesn't matter. It's now a story. And you don't want a story about a 3rd-string quarterback when you're running an organization. You just don't. And I'm a fan of Shedeur, but I thought that was an unprofessional look by Shedeur Sanders today. I didn't think the juice was worth the squeeze for Shedeur Sanders. And I get it. You may think, hey, Shedeur's better than Dillon Gabriel. You may think, hey, the Cleveland Browns should move Shedeur from 3 to bare minimum 2 on the depth chart. The reality of the situation is he's not playing in Cleveland anytime soon. He's not. Because when you're the 3rd-string quarterback and Joe Flacco's still in front of you and Dillon Gabriel's still in front of you, even if you don't think any of those guys are any good, the Browns are telling you, we don't think he's ready and we don't plan on playing him anytime soon. Because from a logical standpoint, once again, Dillon Gabriel, okay, was picked before Shedeur Sanders. So, okay, you're making a move at the quarterback spot. Joe Flacco didn't work. He should be relegated to the 3 spot. Shedeur should be 2. And then Dillon Gabriel is obviously the number 1 guy. But all this stuff that's going to happen in the next few weeks, the moment Dillon Gabriel, it's not even if he has a bad game. It's if Dillon Gabriel has one mistake. Because of how loyal Shedeur Sanders' following is, they will be calling like Tim Tebow's following did for Shedeur to play. That's what they're going to do. But as much as you bitch, complain, scream, go to the top of the mountain and demand for Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski to play Shedeur Sanders, it's not happening anytime soon. So I wonder what Shedeur was trying to accomplish with the mime stuff today. And he's probably not thinking much. He's probably just being funny, trying to be funny, and didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I know what people are going to say. Well, why is the media interviewing a 3rd-string quarterback? Or, well, even if Shedeur does speak, you know that they're going to find a way to make a headline out of Shedeur. Okay. Do you know how many times athletes speak, say actual words, and don't actually say anything and give the media nothing? It happens every day. There's some athletes that are really good. Like Marcel Reed came on the show yesterday. He was an enjoyable conversation. There are other athletes, when you interview them, and you know within a minute in, oh, this is a disaster. The athlete doesn't want to be here. The athlete doesn't want to talk. But I think for Shedeur, it would have been better if, I don't want to say he said nothing, but just if Shedeur actually said something, but really said nothing, rather than just sitting there and mouthing words and having no sound come out of your mouth. Because what are people going to say? Oh, that's unprofessional. What are people going to say? He's immature. What are people going to say? Oh, when has any other quarterback ever done that, let alone a third-string quarterback? And people are not going to like that. And I don't want to be too serious about it. Like, I do think it's funny. But Shedeur can't be the one to do that. Because there's a narrative around Shedeur that he didn't handle the pre-draft process the right way, that he's a distraction, that he's immature, he's unprofessional. And today, even if you want Shedeur to prove people wrong, and even if you're the biggest fan of Shedeur, and you believe in Shedeur, and you believe Shedeur is going to be a good quarterback, like he was a good quarterback at Jackson State, like he was a good quarterback at Colorado, you let the other people that are the non-believers that don't believe in Shedeur Sanders say, see, this is why people are out on Shedeur Sanders. Now, just for clarity purposes, Adam Schefter tweeted out, after the Browns named Dillon Gabriel their new starting quarterback, Shedeur Sanders reacted with a full mime. That's what he did. So Josina Anderson, she then quote tweeted Shefty, and she said, perhaps you mean Shedeur Sanders is going full mime. In the video below, after being criticized by Rex Ryan for stating confidence in himself as a starting quarterback, which also occurred before Dillon Gabriel was officially named QB1 for the Browns today. Now, can I ask a question here? Was maybe this tweet by Shefty edited? I don't know if it was, but it said, after the Browns named Dillon Gabriel the new starting quarterback, Shedeur Sanders reacted with a full mime. Oh, and she took issue with saying, oh, you mean going full mime? Okay, whatever. Who cares? We all know what we're doing here. So this happened before the Dillon Gabriel announcement was made, but didn't we knew about the Dillon Gabriel stuff yesterday. We talked about it on the show. It was being reported that Dillon Gabriel was a starting quarterback.
There was talk that it was likely, but it wasn't announced yet. But I'm on ESPN right now.
Yeah.
And it says, quote, hours after the Browns announced that Gabriel would replace Flacco, Sanders mouthed silent answers to reporters' questions about the move.
Yeah, right?
So I feel like this was happening hours after. Maybe we're misunderstanding Josina Anderson's tweet.
Can we just be honest? And maybe Josina Anderson is right, but my experiences with Josina Anderson, when she's friendly with an athlete or she has a relationship with an athlete, she will defend that athlete even if she looks like a fool doing so. You know, I remember doing an interview with her once when we were CBS and she was working with CBS. And it was something about Odell Beckham Jr. And it was a painful interview. It was like 15 minutes of her basically just being the PR person for Odell Beckham Jr., who I happen to like Odell Beckham Jr. But it was like insufferable. So who knows what the truth is. But the Rex Ryan stuff was last week, or it was earlier this week. I think it was last week. But this was Rex Ryan on Get Up, and this is what he had to say about Shedeur Sanders.
Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
So I think what Rex Ryan is saying is that you have the talent to be a starting quarterback in this league. But the way you acted in the pre-draft process creates a narrative, fair or not, but the narrative is created with you, and I think it was fair for the most part, maybe not to the point where the kid should have fell to the 5th round, but you basically can't be a distraction. You basically need to change some things that you do because your talent should ultimately win out, but you yourself are derailing your career. That's what I took the Rex Ryan thing as. That's how I took it. So here's my question. Yes or no, let's go around the room. I don't need an explanation, just yes or no, and then I have another question off of it. Do you think Shedeur Sanders is going to play a game this year, start a game this year for the Cleveland Browns, Stu? Yes or no?
No.
Santer?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Stu, why don't you think he'll play a game this year?
I just don't think that Stefanski and Barry, rate him as like a great quarterback, and I don't know. I just have a weird feeling that
I still think Jimmy Haslam,
yeah.
and I know Zagora has denied this to us, and we had a fun back and forth on the air. I still think Haslam forced this hand.
Yeah,
I think he forced the hand of his GM and his head coach to draft Shedeur Sanders. Now, Santer, why do you think Shedeur Sanders will start at least one game this year for the Cleveland Browns?
I think a lot of it has to do with just Dillon Gabriel is really small. He's 5'11", 205. The odds are...
Not calling the kettle black.
Yeah, but, I mean, similar to like Kyler Murray, mobile, small quarterbacks in the NFL, they get hurt. So I feel like Dillon Gabriel's probably going to miss some time with an injury, like maybe even a game or two or maybe like multiple games. And at that point, when you're like 2-10 and Dillon Gabriel's out, like what's the point of putting Flacco in? You might as well just throw Shedeur in. I think he'll get in more for that, not because Gabriel struggles.
But the depth chart right now says Flacco's 2 and Shedeur is 3. So if Gabriel struggles or if Gabriel gets hurt, like for example, I think this game's in London this weekend. If Dillon Gabriel, God forbid, gets hurt right away, they're going to Flacco. They're not going to Shedeur. Now, does that mean in 3-4 weeks from now, they'll keep Joe Flacco and they won't go to Shedeur? No, it doesn't mean that. But I thought for sure he'd play at some point this year. I truly don't know now. And that dilemma is because they have him as the third string quarterback. And I think they believe in Dillon Gabriel. But now you're basically saying from week 5 to week 18, Dillon Gabriel is our guy. Will he be your guy, though, for the rest of the season? They play Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Miami, New England, bye week, Jets, Ravens, Raiders, 49ers, Tennessee, Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Honestly, if Gabriel / Flacco make it through really that stretch up against Baltimore, because look at the opponent. Minnesota's good. Pittsburgh's good. Miami stinks. New England's fine. The Jets stink. And then you play Baltimore, who they're 1-3 right now. But if they make it through that stretch, which is not asking a lot, that is weeks 5 through 11, and you're off 1 week with the bye week. Then it's the Raiders who are no bueno, the Niners who are fine, Tennessee who stinks, Chicago's inconsistent, Buffalo is really damn good, Pittsburgh who's really who's good, and then the Bengals who don't have a quarterback right now. So you know what? Samter, I wanted to agree with you. I did. Because I want to see Shedeur play.
You never want to agree with me.
But no, I really wanted to agree with you there. I really did. Out of the kindness of my heart, tomorrow will be atoning for our sins, Samter. So if there is a day I could disagree with you and be a jackass to you and get away with it, it would be today. But I was really looking forward to agreeing with you on this because I want to see Shedeur play. But I see the way that this breaks down, I don't think he's playing. I don't think they want to play him this year. The only way they're going to play him is if they're forced to by Jimmy Haslam. It is Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a timeout when we come on back. Tyreek Hill was supposed to be a big trade target. Now he's out for the season. So let's skip around the room from now until the deadline. Who is someone that you would like to see get traded? Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Tigers trying to end the Guardians season today. Tigers Skubal was unbelievable yesterday. Tarek Skubal, as the Tigers did take game one. Game two right now currently tied in the top of the seventh. Runners are on first and third with one out as the Tigers are up at the dish as it is 1-1 in the top of the seventh. Runners on the corner with one out. Padres and Cubbies underway. Cubs got the victory yesterday. Padres had a run in the top of the first. We're now in the bottom of the first. Kyle Tucker is up with a man on first and two outs. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Yankees and Red Sox, they are getting underway at 6 p.m. Eastern time tonight. How about the Red Sox last night with the comeback? Garrett Crochet was phenomenal. That's someone that I wanted the Mets to trade for last year. Heck, I could actually be a pitching advisor. You know, I could be like a pitching coach or at least a pitching advisor. You know, maybe they call me Rick Peterson. I remember him back in the day. But, man, I was on Tarek Skubal a few years ago. I was on Garrett Crochet a few years ago. Had Mizorowski on my fantasy baseball team. But the Yankees last night. Stu, what are you more mad about? Were you okay with Booney pulling Fried, or was it more so just the lineup problems that they had with Jazz and Rice not in the lineup last night?
I wasn't too upset with him pulling Fried. He did have over 100 pitches. I was more upset with the lineup. The lineup was two base off facing a lefty, righties. Ahmed Rosario batting fifth. The lineup to me didn't make any sense, but I'm not going to kill him for taking out Fried.
Do you hate Bregman? Just wondering. Because all the Astro stuff now with the Red Sox.
I don't like Bregman. He kills the Yankees.
Did so last night too.
Yeah, always.
And then I'll tell you, what was the final score? Was 3-1 last night, right?
Yep. Bases loaded, no outs in the ninth.
The Yankees could have used last night Juan Soto.
Yeah, they
could have used them.
They could have.
And then the Reds and the Dodgers. How about Ohtani, man? 2 home runs last night. 1 right as the game is starting. Do the Reds have any prayer tonight? Do we make a show bet, Reds money line at plus 230? Do we make a little show bet here tonight? Or do the Dodgers just end this one, Stu, in 2 games?
I think it's over. I don't think the Reds are going to make much of a fight of it.
So we'll keep an eye on the baseball, obviously, with it underway and all these games for the wild card round in Game 2. And we'll see if the Guardians are able to force a Game 3 or if Detroit is going to win this one. Once again, runners on first and third with 1 out here in the top of the 7 for Detroit. So Tyreek Hill is now done for the season. And a lot of people thought that Tyreek Hill was going to get traded right before the trade deadline. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I know Drew Rosenhaus said he's going to make a full recovery and plans to be ready for the start of the season next year. I don't think Tyreek Hill is ever going to be the same player. Let me be abundantly clear on that. He'll come back. He'll play. With how much speed is a big part of his game and really is his game, he's already starting to slow down a little bit, even though he's still a really damn good player. I just don't think from start to finish of a season, especially when you suffer such a crazy injury like that, even though you're playing, I still think it takes a year after you come on back to be your full self again. With Tyreek only getting older and older, I don't believe we'll ever see an elite or a great version consistently of Tyreek Hill, ever again. So not only is it unfortunate that Tyreek gets hurt, but now his name's not going to be right there in front of us for the trade deadline. So let's skip around the room here. From now until the trade deadline, who is a player that you would like to see get traded? I'll start things off with Stuart Kovacs.
All right, I'll go with Alvin Kamara, the Saints running back. I just think he's now 30 years old. He's still pretty decent. He has 256 rushing yards this year and a touchdown. He almost had 1,000 yards last year, 950. I just think with this Saints team being as bad as they are, they're the worst, if not one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the league. I think trading him, he could be a nice little ad for a contender.
And he only has a year left on the contract after this year. So it's manageable, and if you're the Saints and you're kind of rebuilding, you'd rather get something for him than just lose him for basically nothing a year from now or have to trade him a year from now. Where could he potentially go? Because the Bills don't need a running back. They have James Cook. The Chargers just drafted Omari and Hampton. I know Najee Harris is out, so maybe it's the Chargers. Could Kansas City maybe need a boost on their offensive side of the ball? I don't think it's crazy. Pittsburgh wouldn't be a bad option now. I know they have Jalen Warren, but he's banged up. Indy doesn't need him because you have Jonathan Taylor. The Jaguars don't need him. They have 2 running backs. Philadelphia doesn't need him. The Commanders, I don't think it's terrible. With Eckler now gone, I know they had that kid Bill, and Brian Robinson Jr. is now on the 49ers. Seattle has 2 running backs. The Rams have Kyron Williams. The Lions have 2 running backs. The Packers have Josh Jacobs. The Vikings, I like Jordan Mason, even though Aaron Jones is hurt right now. Buccaneers, I know there's a little injury to Bucky Irving, so we'll see what happens there. The Falcons have Bijan Robinson. I'm looking around. I don't think the Commanders are bad. That would be a thought in the NFC. And then in the AFC, I kind of like the Steelers and the Chargers.
What about the Texans?
Yeah, the
Mixon's
Texans going to be anything good, though. Like, Texans have to prevent the ship from sinking first before they end up making that move. But if they turn things around, if they get a win this weekend, they're 2-3, and they get another win, they're 3-3. All right, maybe it's a little bit different. But yeah, that's a good one there. Throwing that one out there, Stu, with Alvin Kamara. How about yourself, Samter? Who's yours?
I'm going to go with the guy that we talked about almost all offseason. That's Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
He finally got his deal, but it's a one-year deal. There's
Probably
hurt
gone after
feelings
this
there.
year.
Yeah, he's done in Cincy after this year. I mean, the way that whole thing went down, even if they wanted to re-sign him, I'm sure he wants to go elsewhere. So if they're bad and Burrow's hurt, why let him walk for nothing? Try to get something back, even if it's like a second-round pick because you're desperate. Get something for Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, and Trey Hendrickson would command, I would think, a good haul, even if it's just a year, because a title contender could say, oh, we'll give you more than probably what another team would do because we're trying to go win a championship.
But the Bengals have no leverage. That's the problem. So, I mean, they can maybe get it first, but...
I'm not saying they would get it first, but you could put some conditions in there.
Yeah.
Hey, if you win a Super Bowl, you go to a championship game where you could beef that up a little bit with contenders to maybe make it more than what you probably should get. Like, why wouldn't Philadelphia go get him? Why wouldn't the 49ers, after losing Bosa, go get him? Why wouldn't the Lions? You go put Hutchinson on one end and you have Hendrickson on another? That would be phenomenal. Here's the thing. Running backs, you could be selective. Running backs are more tricky. Stu throws out a running back. Defensive ends, pass rushers, they're like starting pitchers in baseball. There's never such thing as too many starting pitchers or too many defensive ends. You know, imagine the Packers say, you know what, let's go mess around here, put Micah and Trey Hendrickson on the same team. Now, the AFC North, they're probably not going to trade him inside the AFC North. You know, Watt and Hendrickson would be fun, but that's not going to happen. But a team like Indianapolis could use him. Even the Chargers could use him. Kansas City could use him. Buffalo, that would be pretty freaking cool if the Bills ended up getting him. So that one's pretty easy. I actually think the Bengals get a decent / good haul, even with the player in an expiring contract, because he's that good. Now, my guy's Jacoby Myers, which is Stu's guy, because he's on the Raiders. They're 1-3. The Raiders are probably going nowhere. The Raiders failed to build any momentum off of that Week 1 victory up against the Pats. But you look at it, Jacoby Myers is a solid wide receiver. Like a team like Pittsburgh, you pair him up with DK Metcalf, that'd be pretty damn solid. He's a good number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. He's not an ego guy. He handles things the right way. It's not going to cost you a ton in terms of paying him, and then also in terms of what you're going to have to give up with that deal coming to an end and him on a new contract. I believe a team could go get Jacoby. Like, imagine if the Chiefs traded for Jacoby Myers. Now, it wouldn't happen because he's on the Raiders, right? Probably wouldn't happen. But just a team like that, or someone that needs a little boost on the offensive side of the ball, and that could go a long way. Like, Seattle, I don't think would be bad. Put him with Jackson Smith and Jigba, that would be fun. I think that would be pretty damn cool. Or like, hey, if you want to just throw one more other team out there, you go get another weapon for Justin Herbert. You have Ladd McConkey and also Jacoby Myers. Now, it's once again the AFC West, so it's probably not going to happen. But maybe the Raiders just go, we'll get what we get, and then guys maybe goes elsewhere, after that. Colts wouldn't be bad. Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor. I know they have Pierce, and then you throw Jacoby Myers in there. It wouldn't be a bad option. All right, we'll take a break. Hickey going to join us in studio next. We'll see what he has to say about Penn State. Also, Psych Mampter sent me something for Hickey, so we're going to open and see what it is. I have no clue what's in this box. The only person that knows what's in this box, I think, is Samter. I think he checked it, just made sure that it was okay. But then he boxed it right back up. So Samter's the only one that knows what's in this box.
No thanks. I didn't want any.
I don't know what this is going to be. It could be a foam finger that's like a middle finger for Hickey. Would you want that?
Ack, I'll tell you this. You might want it.
Oh, there we go.
No thanks. I didn't want it.
All righty, what we want right now is an update. His name is Richard Ackerman. He will give us an update right now.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Advantage Gold. Want to buy gold? Building a winning retirement portfolio with physical gold and silver with the help of our friends at Advantage Gold. Getting started is easy. Text GOLD to 85545 to get your free gold IRA guide. That's 85545. Visit AdvantageGold.com for terms, message, and data rates apply. The Guardians are facing elimination. What a two-game series this has been so far. They are even at 1 in the bottom half of the 7th. George Valera got things going with a solo home run for Cleveland back in the 1st and has had nothing since, but they just got a big lift from their pitching staff as the Tigers had 1st and 3rd with no out. Hunter Gaddis and Tim Herron got out of the jam, though, and right now they are tied at 1 in the bottom of the 7th. The Padres also looking to stay alive, lead the Cubs by a score of 1-0 in the bottom half of the 2nd. The Braves are the 5th team looking for a new manager, with Brian Snitker stepping down after 10 seasons that included a World Series championship. The Rockies have fired manager Bill Schmidt. The Browns benched Joe Flacco. Dillon Gabriel will be their starter this Sunday in London. I'm Rich Hacker.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The piping hot takes of Ryan Hot Take Hickey do not, I repeat, do not reflect the views of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's Hickey at night Sunday, combing our hair with moose gel and spray. The takes are so hot, hot, hot. Sometimes it's right, usually not. This best segment is coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey head. Hot takes and hair gel on a Sunday night. Hickey's dropping takes that probably aren't right. Dropping a teaser for what's coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads. Talking Penn State while Stu's smoking kush, but Hickey is always the number one mush. You will nicer and moist, might get more sober than Stu. We only joke of us, we like you, but I have to ask, is it true? Is your hair held together by pace and loop? Oh, Hickey's takes are coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads.
It's time to ask the pros. We, the listeners, get to ask us a question brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsCenter at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Walk of shame day for Ryan Hickey. Oh, it has been rough for you, my guy. Our Mets aren't in the playoffs. Nope. The Indianapolis Colts had the Adonai Mitchell game where he fumbled the ball out of the back of the end zone because he was celebrating a little bit too early, then had a hold on what would have been a Jonathan Taylor touchdown, and then on the game-winning touchdown by Tutu Atwell, they only had 10 guys on the field. And am I forgetting? Oh, yeah, and then Penn State, once again, after you said they were going to win by 10 points, lost another game where they were getting blown out, then made this great comeback, and then, oops, Drew Allard did it again. Threw an interception in overtime. So, how you doing?
I've been better. I've had better weekends, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is a rough one.
This was the worst. Worst possible sports weekend you could ever have.
You're not a big food guy, especially when it comes to sports, but you had to have, like, some depression snack, right? At some point this past weekend. Now you want to, like, sit on the couch with, like, a big bowl of ice cream with all these toppings, just crying? Nothing?
No.
Girlfriend didn't make you, like, some brownies?
Food is not my, I guess, outlet, if you will, in terms of
what is your
depression. I don't really have one, just because nothing can make me feel better unless my teams win. So there's nothing that could happen where it's like, oh, the pain of another Penn State loss is eased, or the Mets playoff choke is eased because here's chocolate ice cream with some sprinkles on it. Does not work.
Ever try a yodel?
I've had not in a while.
Little devil dog?
Not in a while.
Little Twinkie?
You still eat those?
No. But
I was gonna say,
if I'm like in a really bad spot,
those are not good for you.
If I'm in a really bad spot, sometimes you do some disgusting things to uplift your spirits. So I'm always looking out for the best interest of Ryan Hickey. Option 1 or option 2? I have 2 gifts. Which one would you like first? 1 or 2?
Let's go behind door number 1.
Okay, I'll get to door number 1 in just a second. This is door number 2. This gift is not from me. This is from Psych Mamter. He DM'd me after Penn State lost to Oregon, and he said, I have a gift for Hickey to try to lift up his spirits because he knew that you're going to be down in the dumps. So I'm going to put this box right there. Don't touch it. Why are you touching it?
Just put it on camera.
Well, can you just move it around, though? Yeah, I don't know if there's an address or anything on there. I don't think people could still see it anyway, but we'll get to it in a second.
Well, see, address you say at top of the show every day.
Oh, yeah, 345 Hudson Street. That is true. You can always send me packages if you want, folks, on the 10th floor. Send Hickey packages, too. He loves rubber duckies, by the way. If you want to send him rubber duckies, send him rubber duckies. So here is the first gift we'll give you. Stu, take it away.
It's the Hickey Hex.
I'm going to say Penn State wins 27-17. They have the better coaching staff. They have the better, more talented team. This is the first time you could say that about
I'd rather have Dan Lanning than James Franklin.
I'd rather have Andy Kotelnicki and Jim Knowles than what Oregon has. Tosh McCoy and Will Stein. Penn State's the better coaches. They have the better talent.
Do they have the better quarterback? Drew Allen, Dante Moore.
I don't think it matters.
Moore on the run, wide open. Gary Bryant, touchdown. One play is all they need to take the lead. He's going to know that Sutton is coming, and he's unblocked, and he steps underneath him on the bootleg and then slings it. I mean, this is just Dante Moore not being phased.
Do they have the better quarterback? Drew Allen, Dante Moore.
I don't think it matters.
Do they have the better quarterback? Drew Allen, Dante Moore.
I don't think it matters.
Do they have the better quarterback? Drew Allen, Dante Moore.
I don't think it matters. Penn State can still win this game with Drew Allen playing an average game. I mean, just don't throw a pick in your own end with 30 seconds left.
That's the difference between winning and losing.
And I don't think Aller will do that this week.
Aller going to throw. Steps back. Swings it down. It is intercepted. Oregon pick. Ducks win. Ducks win. Interception by Dillon Gabriel. That means Penn State can't answer the score, and Oregon has ended it with an interception in the second overtime. And they'll win it 30-24.
Penn State can still win this game with Drew Aller playing an average game. I mean, just don't throw a pick in your own end with 30 seconds left.
That's the difference between winning and losing.
And I don't think Aller will do that this week. And I don't think Aller will do that this week. And I don't think Aller will do that this week.
Aller going to throw. Steps back. Swings it down. It is intercepted. Oregon pick. Ducks win.
Hot Take Hickey strikes again.
So, to your credit, you wanted them to run the ball a lot. What are they doing in overtime having Aller throw the football like that?
On a play that was covered by 3 different guys, where if Thieneman doesn't pick it off, there are 2 guys behind him that were there to pick it off as well. I just don't, at this point, I don't think Drew Aller can read the field. That's my big concern, is that this guy makes a decision before the ball is snapped. If it's open, he'll make the throw. As we saw on Saturday, half the time it's behind a receiver. It's inaccurate. Sometimes he'll hit him right in the chest, and it's a nice play. Other times, if it's not there, I don't know. I don't know if it just predetermines routes sometimes that never had a chance to begin with.
I think you're more upset now than you were last year for Notre Dame. Like when they blew that, like you were, don't get me wrong, down in the dumps.
I was shocked.
Championship
Still
game on the line.
In a state of shock when I was on the show, whatever that was, 3 or 4 days afterwards.
When we played that for you, you were like turning purple. Today, I thought during a moment you were just going to get up and walk out. Especially when I felt bad playing that. I thought that was supposed to be a gift to uplift the spirits. And you just had this look, like a frown on your face. And that like lip, it was like puffy like a duck too, where you didn't look all that happy.
It's just the same story, different year. That's what it is. I've come to accept what Penn State is under James Franklin. You can change the coaches, you can change the players. I've seen the same. Yes, I do. And that's another, unfortunately, that's another reality that's set in Saturday night. They let the wrong quarterback go. It sucks. It really sucks.
Drew was supposed to be the guy, though. You told me all the potential Drew Aller.
5-star guy, one of the most talented quarterbacks, the most talented quarterback in his draft or recruiting class. Doesn't matter. A lot of those guys don't pan out. I was wrong.
So now I really do not know what's in the box. I truly do not know. I feel actually bad. I have a heart. I feel bad. I got you pizza, by the way. I brought in some pizza. So there's pizza in the newsroom, a.k.a. David Mayernick got us some pizza to kind of uplift your spirits because you knew it's going to be a tough one for you. I don't know what's in the box, so I apologize if it's mean in advance. I hope it's something nice that could really uplift your spirits. So can you open said box?
It's kind of heavy. Yeah. No, I think I should be good. I got a pen that should be able to be like a box cutter.
I did shake the box around a little bit. I thought it was a mug. It sounded like a mug.
I do not need a mug. That's the one thing I do not want. I have a million of them.
I don't need one either. I'm sipping on your tears too much right now. Alrighty, so Hickey is opening up the box. Ooh, very nice job opening the box. I'd be like a savage.
Oh, wow. Look at this, folks.
What is it?
It is hair gel, courtesy of Psych Mamter.
That's actually nice.
A gift for you.
What does it say? What does the card say?
Sorry about a rough weekend. Keep your head held high and your hair even higher. Signed, Psych Mamter. That's very nice.
That's a nice gift.
That is very nice.
There's no poster, nothing?
No, there's no poster.
Oh, can I see the hair gel real quickly?
Sure. LA Looks, extreme sport.
Oh, my God.
So wherever you want to get crazy on a Saturday night.
You want to put some in right now?
I am good.
You want to put some hair gel in together? No?
No, I am good. Thank you, though. If you want to put some hair gel in your own hair right now.
Actually,
under that hat.
Can you do me a favor? Can you throw that back over to me? Like, throw it. Intercepted by the Ducks! so happy. Oh, by the way, here you go. I'll turn it back over to you. All right,
hold on. I got to ask, what level of strength hold is that?
It says extreme sport all day hold.
I mean, I use LA Looks. I mean, if you're not going to use it.
Wow, look at you. You got great hair. You got,
don't do
yeah, look at you.
You're mooching off. Here's this
Hold
poor
on.
kid.
10+ level, Samter.
Wait, now hold on.
10+ level.
I'm
so there you
sorry.
go. It's the extreme hold.
Here's this poor kid here.
Alcohol free.
Who is in mourning after another, maybe you drink it, who's in mourning after another Penn State loss, and you're trying to take his gift that's going to uplift his spirits? That's not nice.
I mean, my life isn't that great either. The Yankees lost game 1. The Jets are a joke. The Chiefs suck. Cardinals lost. I mean, outside of ASU, all my soccer teams are getting their asses whooped, so,
Yeah. All righty. Mets. Horrible. Worse than 2007?
Yeah, because they were, yes and no in the sense of, this year they were just a bad baseball team. It's not even, you can't even call it a collapse because they were for more of the year than not.
22 games over 500.
But for, you look at the chunk of the season,
brutal.
More times than not, they were closer to the bottom of baseball than the top of baseball. That's just bad baseball team.
But what makes this worse for me is that there's 3 wild card spots, all the momentum that was being built. And in 2007, this is what I equated it to. You have a Lamborghini, you're driving down the road one day, you're living a great life, you're about to go to the penthouse, and you get hit by an 18-wheeler, you die. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But there was no suffering. This, I got diagnosed with something, and I lived for 15 years having no quality of life, and I was a vegetable in a bed. That's what it was. If I'm going to go, I'd rather just go quickly than have to have pain and suffering. Now, how about the Colts? Adonai Mitchell, another guy you mushed. You said he was going to be great. What the heck is this guy doing?
See the red flags as to why he fell in the draft. Super talented.
Rank
Idiot.
him for me.
Just an idiot.
What was the toughest part for you? The Mets, Colts, Penn State,
season or just the weekend?
Oregon.
Just weekend?
Yeah, no.
Oh, Penn State by far. By far. It's not even close. I would have sacrificed the Mets. You told me Penn State, in order for Penn State to win, the Mets lose, I would have signed up for that in a heartbeat. Heartbeat. So it's Penn State 1, Mets 2, and Colts 3.
What happens if they beat Ohio State? Penn State.
I'm back in.
Beat Ohio State.
Absolutely. On the road.
One win will get you back in?
Ohio State better than Oregon? Yeah, I'm back in.
I don't know if Ohio State's better than Oregon.
They are very close.
Yeah, I would say right now you probably have to rank Ohio State 1 just because of the national champs. But
And they're what, 1 and 2? They're right there. If you tell me you could beat the number 1 team in the country on the road, back in.
Colton, Hickey, and Knowles, man, they really made a big difference.
But I will say that's not going to happen. So this season's over.
No, but you gotta dance for us a little bit.
No dancing.
When they play Ohio State, I need a Pat and Ryan Hickey guarantee.
I just, at that point, I honestly hope they don't lose by 30. That's all I hope at that point.
And watch. Then they'll win, folks.
And I'll be back.
Reverse mush. Reverse mush.
They gave you trust me, no reason to believe.
Ryan,
after
go
Saturday.
get yourself a slice of pizza. Thank you for being a good sport.
Thank you to Psych Manter for the gift.
You got it. And thanks for having you on the show, right? No, thank you. All right, coming on back with Danny Kanell, Zach Gelb Show. Florida State Talk next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, at Zach Gelb on Twitter, where I am posting a photo right now of Michael Samter double-fisting pizza at work. Yeah, the bosses here got us pizza today. And then I had a good slice. I had a little slice, going to hold me over until dinner tonight. And I elected to have a slice. I look over in the newsroom. Samter has 2 slices. And he's holding one as if it's like a Frisbee. It's kind of crazy. I thought he was going to fling that thing across the newsroom, Samter. And Samter, by the way, you like Steve from Blue's Clues. Oh, my God. With that shirt on, you do. That's a good shirt for you.
We had this conversation. Steve from Blue's Clues' shirt is green with light green stripes. Mine is green with blue stripes. I am not Steve from Blue's Clues.
Tomato, right? Like, hey, Stu, do you know what the actual color is on the shirt of Steve from Blue's Clues? Do you have any idea? It's just green, right?
No, it's green with green stripes. It's double green. It's dark green and light green.
So what's the difference compared to what you're wearing?
I'm green and blue.
That's blue?
That's blue.
That look a little purple.
Fine, green and purple is not green and green.
Does that look purple, Stu, or is that green? Maybe it's just the camera that's in front of me.
It looks more, the darker color looks more like a navy blue, and then the green is like a light green.
Gotcha. I thought for sure, Samter, you were like going to Mardi Gras or something like that when you're wearing a shirt like that. It looks like a Mardi Gras kind of color. It looks green and purple from here.
It's too, even if it was purple, it's too dark of a purple to be Mardi Gras.
I don't know. When you're in New Orleans and you're having a few drinks during Mardi Gras and you get ready for that tequila sunrise,
can't tell the difference.
You can't tell exactly. You can't tell the difference.
I've been to Mardi Gras way too many times.
Now, can I ask you a serious question? Because I heard a stupid conversation. I didn't really get it. What you and Hickey were talking about. You know, I have my old producer, my current producer talking, and it's just stupid after stupid just happening. So, what was Hickey asking? Would you rather be what was the Sam Hartman conversation that you guys were having?
So, we were talking, I forget how we got into it with Sam Hartman, but we were talking about Sam Hartman and how handsome he was. Like, by far, the most handsome athlete that I think has ever existed. The guy is just like
ever.
He's like a supermodel.
He's a good-looking guy, but ever I don't know about that.
So Hickey was asking me, he's like, Sam Hartman sucks as a quarterback, but he's good-looking. So would you want to be as good-looking as Sam Hartman, but suck at whatever job that you were doing?
Okay, so basically, would you rather look like Sam Hartman or just be a horrible radio producer while looking like him?
So would you rather be a horrible radio producer and look like Sam Hartman, or look like me and be a good radio producer?
Oh, I think I'd rather. Well, who said you were a good radio producer?
You know, the premise of the question revolves specifically around this argument. And if you're going to poke holes into it.
I'm kidding. Don't be such a sensitive Santa today. So would I rather be good at my job, but ugly? Is this what it is? Or, I'm not saying you're ugly, but this is what I think the question is. Or would I rather be
you
Sam
call me a
Hartman?
bad producer and ugly at the same time. That's awesome.
So would I rather look like Samter and be a good producer, or look like Sam Hartman and be a bad producer? Is that the question?
Like, would you rather be Zach Gelb, national radio host, good at your job, great interviewer, right? Video stream, look like you, like not a bad-looking guy? Or would you rather be like the most handsome person in all of sports radio, but also be like, I don't know, Shep?
No, don't do that.
Let's not do that.
Don't do that. I'm off tomorrow for the holiday.
No, Shep is
you
good.
You need to atone for your sins now.
I
Please
was
don't
just
do that.
joking. I was just trying to throw some shade. No, or like be like bad at your job.
So I think if you ask me, would I rather be myself, looking like the way that I do, and being good at my job, or look like Sam Hartman and be the worst talk show host? I think I'd rather be my current situation. But if the question is, would I rather be like Samter and be a good producer, or be a bad producer and look like Sam Hartman, I think I'd rather look like Sam Hartman. I think in that scenario, what was your answer, by the way? Because you guys were just screaming and eating pizza. I had no clue what you guys were actually talking about.
I think for me,
Samter has a mouthful of pizza when he turns on the microphone there. What did you get?
I wasn't expecting you to go back to me. I took a try.
What did you just say?
I took a bite.
Oh, did you get pepperoni or did you have plain?
I don't eat pepperoni.
Not at all.
Hate it.
You don't like pepperoni?
Not at all.
How about the miniature pepperoni cups? You don't like those miniature pepperoni cups?
I just don't like pepperoni. I don't like spiced meat like that. Salami is fine. Yeah. You know, I love like prosciutto, but like pepperoni, there's something about it.
So you don't
it
like
ruins
spiced meats, and you eat boneless chicken wings.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now I like a good sausage. Give me like a good, you know, like a German sausage,
like a thick sausage. I just asked you a question. Who likes a skimpy sausage? No one likes a skimpy sausage.
It's not as much about how big it is. It's more about how fat it is.
No. Don't go down this rabbit hole.
We're talking about grilling sausages.
No. There's a line, and you just took it too far. So you would rather look like Sam Hartman and be a horrible radio producer than look like yourself and be a really good radio producer?
I would rather be a dog food taste tester and look like Sam Hartman than what I do now and look like me.
Okay, gotcha.
I would do anything if I can look like
taste
that.
Tester?
Tall, handsome, well built. I mean, flowing locks, the beard, no beard, doesn't matter. I got a man crush on that dude.
How about now, Stu? I got to ask you something.
Yeah.
I think the most offensive thing he said in the last 6 minutes is he doesn't like spiced meats and he doesn't like pepperoni. Do you like pepperoni?
Love
also
pepperoni.
crazy?
I got a pepperoni slice right here.
Oh, you got a pepperoni
I did,
slice.
yes.
Now, I did go with the plain slice. Now, it has nothing to do with me not liking pepperoni, but I just thought it was going to kind of be one of those things where, my mouth's going to be watering the rest of the show if I ended up having the pepperoni, and then trying to speak is not always the easiest. I do not like eating during the show. I don't. I do not like eating during the show. So what a conversation that we just had right there. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We should be able to connect with Danny Kanell coming up momentarily. Solid weekend up ahead in college football. Obviously, it's going to be highlighted by Miami and Florida State. Florida State did suffer a terrible defeat last week in overtime up against Virginia. Miami is 4-0. You can check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff, Heisman, and college football week 6 lines. And now joining us is the former NFL and college quarterback in Danny Kanell. Danny, how are you, my friend?
I am fantastic, Zach. And being, all things considered, it was an opportunity for Florida State, Miami to be facing his top 10 opponents. We gagged a little bit on Friday night. Credit to Virginia. That was a really impressive performance by them. But we still have an opportunity. Florida State does this weekend against Miami at home at Doak Campbell. I'm headed up that way tomorrow. Should be an electric atmosphere. So there's still a lot that's there on the table for Florida State, clearly.
I actually got a picture sent to me of you this past weekend with my buddy Josh Booty. So I'm going to blame Josh Booty and the photo you guys took together. He said, I'm hanging with your guy Danny Kanell is why Florida State lost. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to.
All his fault. It's all his fault for sure.
So wouldn't it be so college football, though, Danny? And I was talking about this with Channing Crowder earlier today when I was on his show. And I said, Florida State loses last week, right? Not that the juice gets sucked out of this game, but it is a letdown. You wanted both those teams to be undefeated. Wouldn't it really be college football for Florida State to bounce back this week and upset Miami?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this season, there's been so much parity, and it was funny because when Florida State lost that game, that's actually what I put out. I'm like, hey, this is going to become the new normal. Like seeing teams go 12-0 or 11-1 is going to become highly abnormal. The new normal is going to be 9-3 and 10-2 are the really, really good football teams. And a lot of, I was kind of speaking to Florida State fans, trying to keep them, from throwing in the towel in the season. But a lot of people were like, oh, you're just trolling. You're just saying that because Florida State lost. And then what'd we see the next day? USC loses as a favorite against Illinois. We see all these crazy games going back and forth. Oregon upsets Penn State there in Happy Valley. Like, I just think it's becoming more like the NFL, especially at the Power 4 level. Sure, the group of 5, you'll see some blowouts and you'll see some bigger point spreads. But when you see Power 4 teams squared off, Florida State game's a good example versus Miami. They're a 4.5-point underdog. The total's around 55. Like, that's usually, it feels like an NFL line, and that's because the parity is here, just like it is in the NFL.
How should I feel about Alabama right now? Obviously, they got crushed by Florida State to open up the season, and then at the end of the month, they found a way to beat Georgia over the weekend. How should people feel about Alabama moving forward, in your opinion?
I think they're the best team in the SEC right now, and maybe one of the best teams in the country. I mean, I picked them to win the SEC coming in, and I was not ready to jump off the bandwagon early. Granted, I thought Florida State was a really good football team. It was sort of a perfect storm. They had 11 new starters, new offensive and defensive coordinators, so they were able to kind of spring some things that Alabama hadn't seen. It was in Tallahassee. Game goes sideways. You lose one. Again, kind of goes back to what I'm talking about. Like, a loss is not as devastating as it has been in years past. Meanwhile, still recognizing they still have NFL talent on that roster. And they were without Jam Miller, their running back, and Tim Keenan, one of their best defensive tackles. Well, guess what? Both of those guys came back and played in Athens the other night and were a big influence on that game. Not to mention Ty Simpson has been absolutely lights out since that game that he lost in Tallahassee. I think he's playing quarterback as good as anybody in the country. He's still perfect in the turnover column, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's extremely accurate. And I think the leadership was one thing that was missing. And maybe it didn't see it on display in Florida State, but since then, he's sort of taken ownership of this team. That was on display. They did a good job documenting him pregame, giving the pregame speech at halftime, him talking to his players. I think he's really stepped up in a leadership role too. So I think Alabama is going to be in the SEC championship game. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're one of the best teams in the country.
How about Mississippi State, Texas A&M? Mississippi State's having a solid season. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of A&M with their 2 wide receivers. You got Marcel Reed, too. But more importantly, Elko has that defense really going. Mississippi State, Texas A&M, I think it's going to be a good game this weekend.
I do too, but I'm a little bit worried about Blake Shapen, the quarterback from Mississippi State. He was running for his life a little bit last week, and that was in his own backyard with the Cowbells. Now he's got to go on the road to face the 12th man against a defense, which is one of the best in the country. Mike Elko quietly, his team has been absolutely balling. And the Auburn-Texas A&M game last week was one of the more deceiving scores that we saw, because Texas A&M dominated that game. I think they outgained them like 350 yards to 130. Unfortunately, it was really sloppy. There were a lot of penalties. They had a couple turnovers. So then you're looking at a one-possession game late. I think Texas A&M is really good. You mentioned the receivers. Casey Concepcion has been an absolute great find for them in the portal. And Marcel Reed's slowly developing and getting better and better as a passer. Le'Veon Moss, one of the best running backs out there too. I actually like Texas A&M to win and cover this weekend. I know it's up there around 10.5. I'm not afraid of it. I think it'll be close for a little bit, but I think Texas A&M pulls away late and wins and covers.
Texas and Florida, I don't know what to expect out of Arch this weekend. Billy Napier, I know what to expect. And then also with DJ Lagway, I knew Napier wasn't fit for Florida anymore. Lagway's the stunning part to me. 5 interceptions a few weeks ago, 60-something passing yards a few weeks ago. What should we expect out of the quarterback play with Texas and Florida?
But Zach, did you not hear Billy Napier said he saw a look in his eye? He talked about his quarterback. He said he saw a look in his eye this week.
And you know what his quarterback said to him? Hey, coach, stop calling the plays, all right? Let's change something here.
Right. I thought you were going to say, you know what? He said he saw the boot on his leg as well, which he was sporting this bye week. It's easy to mock and it's easy to make fun of, but he came in with such lofty expectations, and he did play well last season. But what he looks like to me is somebody that missed an entire offseason, being injured. He had a shoulder issue where he couldn't throw it during spring practice. He had his calf injury, which caused him to miss a lot of training camp. And it's sort of the perfect storm. And by the way, their offensive line has not delivered on the protection that's needed for DJ Lagway. So he looks like somebody who's not up to speed with his receivers. He's not getting the run game support. And then you sort of get exposed, and then your offense looks stagnant, which is what you're talking about. Like, why is Billy Napier still calling the plays? So I'm caught a little bit because I've backed the Gators 3 times this season, and every time I've been burned on them. And yet I find myself looking at the Gators. I think this is their last-ditch effort, where I still think the players like Billy Napier. I know Florida fan base is ready to send him backing. They're ready to go for the next coach. I still think the players like him. The defense, I think, will show up. And you mentioned it. What are we going to get from Arch? It's the first time we've seen him on the road since he went to the shoe in week 1 where it wasn't great. He really only has one really good game under his belt against Sam Houston where he played well from start to finish. How is he going to play in this performance? Is he just going to be a game manager? Is he going to make a critical mistake? Or are we going to get the Arch Manning that we thought we were going to get at the beginning of the year, and somebody who actually lights it up and goes on the road and works his way back into a Heisman conversation? I honestly don't know the answer to any of that. And by the way, you know what the experts think? This is going to be an ugly affair because the point total has been coming down and down and down. And I think it's probably the right play because both defenses, I think, are pretty good, and you can't trust either quarterback.
I know you said you're uncertain about Arch. Will this team, in your opinion, if you had to say yes or no, will they make the playoff this year?
No, I don't think they do. I think they're 9-3 at best, and I think they're 8-4 at worst. Until I see Arch sustain success. And I still think Arch, like next year, is the year I would pick Texas to win the national championship. And what's kind of crazy is their defense is just as good as it was last year, but the offense is still just sputtering. And he does look like a normal first-year starter, somebody who's a little bit, kind of shaky. You can't really trust him, incredibly up and down. I think that's the type of year it's going to be. I think it's going to be a roller coaster ride, in which that's exactly what we've seen. Until I see him separate and develop some consistency and some confidence in that system and become more of an accurate passer with more consistent mechanics, I don't trust it. So their schedule is much tougher this year. Last year, this game, they blew out Florida, like 52-7, absolutely blew them out. This year, they're only a 6.5-point favorite on the road, and I think Florida's kind of a live dog even. I know it's crazy to say, but until I see Arch go out there and prove me wrong, I'm going to say year 2 is the year you back Texas. Until then, I don't think they're a playoff team.
Wrapping up with Danny Kanell, Arkansas is open. I know before they hired Sam Pittman, they did interview Coach Prime. Could you see them having Calipari coaching basketball and Coach Prime coaching football come the fall?
It's interesting, Zach, because I haven't heard anybody mention Coach Prime's name, and that you are spot on. That was one of the first jobs he got. I think even before Jackson State or right around then was when he started talking to Arkansas. So maybe there is some interest there. But the bottom line is I think the favorite's Rhett Lashley at SMU. He played football at Arkansas. He's, he coached under Gus Malzahn. He's the perfect kind of guy for that job. The question is, how attractive is it? And that's where I think that if it did happen to be Deion Sanders, it would be because several others fell through that looked at it and say, you know what? It's not that attractive a job. I don't know if we can compete against Alabama, Georgia, Texas, the big spenders in the SEC. But we have to remember, they've got Tyson Foods money. They have Walmart money in Arkansas. At what point do you not look at a guy like Rhett Lashley and say, fine, we'll do whatever it takes. We'll get the resources. We want to get our guy, and we're going to be competitive. We're going to turn this thing around. But if they don't make that commitment financially and show them kind of like Virginia Tech did, but in a much bigger way, and say, we're going to give you every resource you need, I don't know if that job's attractive. And a lot of the names they're looking at are going to wait and see if Florida opens, if Auburn opens. And so Arkansas is looking like it's going to be a third or a fourth option for a lot of guys.
What did you make of Dillon Gabriel getting announced as the Browns starter today? And then Shedeur Sanders, when doing his media availability, was basically pretending to be a mime when talking to the reporters.
Yeah, I know, because Rex Ryan told him not to talk. I mean, Rex went all over the top on him, but I do think, like, as a third-string quarterback, you shouldn't be talking to the media. Now, they come up to him. It's not his fault. It's not like he's offering up his services. I'm not surprised at all Dillon Gabriel is starting this. I mean, he's the backup. He's the guy who did play better over a longer period of time in the preseason. Those coaches have been able to see him, and even if you don't see all that, you have to look at the politics that come into play. He was a third-round pick. Shedeur was a fifth-round pick, so Dillon Gabriel's going to get the first opportunity unless he totally screws it up. I do think Shedeur will get his chance because this Cleveland team is not very good. I don't see Dillon Gabriel going out there and lighting it up. So Shedeur should just play it quiet, wait for his opportunity, and then when it comes, let his play do the talking for him. But that's not really his style, as we know.
Who do you think wins the ACC, Danny Kanell?
I think it's either Florida State or Miami. Like, I know Virginia's been a good story. Louisville's kind of flying under the radar. SMU's not out of the picture. They're 0-0. They have 2 losses, but none in the ACC.
Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech, last weekend they almost, crapped the bed against Wake Forest. It is a fun race. It's wide open. I'll still go with the talented rosters. My hunch tells me Miami because even if Florida State wins this weekend, it's really hard to beat a team twice. That would be neutral. If Florida State wins this weekend, I do think it's large part because of the home field advantage. So I'd probably say Miami, but I wouldn't count out Florida State.
And with what you've seen through a month and projected into the future, your national championship game prediction, if you had to modify one, is what?
I would go Oregon over Ohio State. I think those are the 2 best teams in college football right now. I think the SEC kind of beating each other up. I mentioned Alabama. I think they're a Final Four team. I don't know if they're a championship team. And, boy, I tell you, the Big Ten looks like once again it's going to have 2 teams in the Natty.
Check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff, Heisman, and college football Week 6 lines. He is Danny Kanell. DK, appreciate it as always. Thank you.
You got it, Zach. We'll see you.
You got it. There he is, the great Danny Kanell, joining us on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a break. When we come on back, the Cincinnati Bengals, they have an offensive line problem. They have a quarterback problem. Can the Bengals make a move? Are they going to trade for a quarterback from now until the deadline? We'll get into that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, let me throw out a few options here. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I think we'll be in agreement here. The Bengals are going nowhere this season with Jake Browning. Stu, would you concur with that statement?
I would agree, yes.
Samter, I'm assuming, but I know what happens when you assume. You sometimes make an ass out of you and me that the Bengals are going nowhere with Jake Browning as their quarterback.
I agree.
Okay. So there's a chance that the Bengals make a move from now until the deadline. There are names that we could throw out there. Anthony Richardson, where I read today that Jeremy Fowler had this report that Anthony Richardson would be good with going to the Rams for Sean McVay to try to save his career, which actually wouldn't be a bad option. So let's say Stafford plays another year or two, maybe 2 at most. You sit there, you're patient. If Stafford gets hurt, you get thrown into the fire. I know Jimmy G right now is the backup there, but you get thrown into the fire eventually. And you got a Puka Nacua, you got Kyron Williams, and you got the brilliant coaching mind of a Sean McVay. So I could get why why Richardson would be interested. I don't know if McVay would be interested. I won't dismiss it. I won't say absolutely not, because you could see, right, McVay just taking a flyer, and if worst case, you don't like the guy or you don't fall in love with the kid, it didn't really cost you much to probably go get him. So Anthony Richardson, could he be an option with the Bengals? I'll throw out Jameis Winston. I'll throw out Russell Wilson or even Kirk Cousins. Now, you could go with other options, but I'm just saying what could maybe be attainable when you look at an Anthony Richardson who's not playing right now, Jameis Winston who's a third-string quarterback right now, Russell Wilson who's a second-string quarterback right now, and Kirk Cousins who's a backup behind Michael Penix Jr. with the Atlanta Falcons. Samter, if you were running the Cincinnati Bengals and you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, we got Jamar Chase, we got T. Higgins, we got Chase Brown, Joe Burrow is probably out for the rest of the season. Now, maybe he comes back in 10 weeks from now, 11 weeks from now, but he's probably out for the rest of the season. Who's the quarterback that you're trying to get right now to go bring in to just help you try to get off the mat after Jake Browning showing you what he did a few years ago is probably not going to be replicated?
Definitely not Russ. Russ would be, of like the main options, he would not be the guy. Cousins makes sense. He's solid. It's a similar kind of playing style as Burrow. But we just don't know what he is. After that Achilles, he was really bad at the end of last year before he got benched. So I don't know how comfortable I am with that. Like, the Browns just benched Flacco. Maybe Flacco? Would they trade him in division of 40-something? Honestly, I think Flacco probably makes the most sense.
So you're going to go with Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
All right, so maybe Joe Flacco becomes a malcontent in that locker room.
Not even a malcontent. It's just you got Shedeur, you got Dillon Gabriel. Yeah, but maybe Flacco's like, this is my last shot.
Stu?
I will go with Kirk Cousins. I know there were times last year he didn't look good coming off of that Achilles injury, but maybe he just needed that full year of recovery. I know he's also older, which doesn't help him, but I think if I'm betting on any of these guys to be at least somewhat decent, I think Kirk Cousins for me is the one I would bet the most on.
Let me just throw a name out there. I don't think that they should go down this road. But if you're trying to put lipstick on a pig, I don't think it's the worst option. I don't know if this guy would say yes. You think if you called Derek Carr and you say, hey, Derek, who just the other day or a few weeks ago was like, I'll never say never about potentially returning to the NFL. And I don't know what kind of shape he's in. But if you hit up Derek Carr and go, would you want to come quarterback the Cincinnati Bengals? Do you think he would say no still? You know Derek Carr very well, you being a Raider guy. You think Derek Carr says no to the Bengals?
I think the Bengals, he would say yes. There's so many weapons, and at least gives them a little bit of life. It's not terrible.
If your options are Kirk Cousins, I am advocating for Derek Carr. What world do we live in now? But if your options are Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson, or Derek Carr, or Joe Flacco, I think you just try to scratch the itch with Derek Carr. Now, Carr's been out of the league, what, 2 years? A year?
No.
He just retired this
offseason.
This
offseason. He was hurt towards the end of last year.
You're right. So I don't know where he is from a health standpoint.
He had the shoulder, and that was kind of a big part of it
but also,
in the offseason. We don't know how real it was.
Memory serves me right. I think it was more with the money. I remember there was something contractual that maybe the feelings were hurt, and he goes, oh, F it, I'm done with the New Orleans Saints. I don't think Carr would be a bad option. Now, I don't know how realistic it is. So let me go with the guys that are active right now instead of saying like, oh, how about Tom Brady, 888-710-4ISN.
Wait, are you saying Tom Brady's coming back to be the quarterback of the Bengals?
I am not saying that.
Part owner, part player?
This line sucks in Cincinnati. It's a bad line. So even if Kirk Cousins may be the best quarterback, Kirk's going to get killed behind this line. We don't even know if the guy can move. So I don't think it's Kirk Cousins. Joe Flacco, same thing. He'll get killed behind this line. So I'm not even considering him. Anthony Richardson, I think would, even though I have no interest in really seeing him play, just the storyline would be fun. And you get Jamar Chase and you get T. Higgins and you know that he's a mobile quarterback too, so at least he can move around. I really think if the Bengals are going to make a move, it's really between two guys. it's quarterback 2 and quarterback 3 on the New York Football Giants. Jameis Winston has no shame. Russell Wilson at this point has no shame. You could throw him behind garbage in that offensive line, and they'll just want the opportunity to get on the field. And I actually think the guy, if the Bengals are going to make a move, once again, I'm talking about Derek Carr and Russell Wilson here. Who the heck am I? What happened to the way that I do radio? But even though I believe Russell Wilson is washed and he's cooked, I think Russ would actually be the best move. Not that I'm the biggest fan of Russell Wilson, but if you ask me if the options are Richardson for a year, Russ for a year, Jameis for a year, Joe Flacco for the rest of the year, even though I don't think Russ is any good anymore, I guess I would go with Russell Wilson. And that would be the last-ditch effort for Russ in a career where he probably will never be a starting quarterback again. It's got to be, to me, one of the Giants. I think it's the most feasible. I just don't know how feasible, right, Derek Carr is if he wants to come out of retirement. I don't know how feasible Anthony Richardson is. I don't know how conducive that is for his career. You look at a Kirk Cousins, I don't think it's conducive for the rest of his career. But the two guys on the Giants, they'll take the opportunity. And I think that they would be fired up to go play with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, even if they're getting sacked like 9 times a game. It is Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. We will update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. When we come on back, we'll get to a news brief on the other side. Update time first. Here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. At Wrigley this afternoon, the Padres trying to force a deciding game. They lead the Cubs 1-0 after falling in Game 1. The run coming off Andrew Kittredge back in the first as he was the opener today for Shota Imanaga. Jackson Merrill with the sacrifice fly for the game's only run so far. The Guardians forced a deciding Game 3, beating the Tigers today 6-1. Ryan Rocchio sparked a 5-run eighth, snapping a 2-all tie with a solo homer, and Bo Naylor capped the inning with a 3-run shot. The Yankees will try to stave off elimination later against the Red Sox, while the Dodgers try to finish off the Reds at Dodger Stadium. Brian Snitker stepped down as Braves manager. After 10 seasons, he won 6 division titles and a World Series. Buster Posey said his former manager, Bruce Bochy, not a candidate to fill their vacancy, while Albert Pujols reportedly will interview for the Angels vacancy and could be the leading candidate. Brock Purdy is out tomorrow because of his injured toe, and the Browns, looking for a spark, will start Dillon Gabriel at quarterback on Sunday. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
This Thursday night football preview on a Wednesday is sponsored by Square. More than 4 million neighborhood businesses run on Square. To learn more, go to square.com or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood. Square. Week 5 begins with a NFC West heavyweight matchup as the 49ers visit the Rams. Both teams are 3-1 in the season. Matthew Stafford leads the way for LA with 8 TDs and 2 INTs. While we hope to see Brock Purdy tomorrow night, as he is questionable, he has 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in just 2 games played so far for San Francisco. Let's update you on some of the biggest storylines in the world of sports with some audio. We get to a news brief right now.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, we know that Dillon Gabriel is now the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco will be second on the depth chart, while Shedeur Sanders is going to be number 3. Joe Flacco on getting benched earlier today.
Well, I think the tougher thing is just going through what we've gone through the last 4 weeks and just not being able to produce the way we've wanted to. You know, listen, when you're in the moment and you're having conversations with people, it is what it is. You look people in the eye and you tell them how it is, and that's what it is.
What was your conversation like with Kevin, and did you kind of foresee this coming?
I don't think I foresaw it. Listen, I think I said it on Sunday. Anytime you're in this league, I mean, everybody's always getting evaluated, and the job of a quarterback is to help your team win football games. So I don't know if I foresaw it coming. But listen, me and Kevin can have a good conversation. It wasn't like it was anything super long or drawn out like that, but got to the point and had a good conversation with him about it, and it is what it is.
Let's get to Kevin Stefanski. Here was the announcement that Dillon Gabriel is going to be the starter.
Okay, going to start Dillon Gabriel at quarterback, as I know you guys saw. First of all, this is not about one person. Joe is a captain of this football team. We're going to need his leadership moving forward like always, and that's obvious with Joe, just the person he is. He's going to be the same guy every day. Excited for Dillon. He's done everything. He's handled everything really well since he's been on campus here. So we're just going to have to support the young man, coaches, players, offense, defense, special teams.
I don't know. If I got benched and they were like, oh, we still want you to be a good leader, I think I would tell him to go pound sand. And I don't have any fault with Joe Flacco doing that. And also, I understand the Browns making this move to go with Dillon Gabriel because the Browns are going nowhere. You may as well go play the kids. But if I'm hearing that I'm Joe Flacco, I'm like, a coach still expects me to be a leader? Please. Let's go to Kevin Stefanski. What makes him think that Dillon Gabriel is now ready?
From the second he's been here, he's been working very hard, very intelligent young man. He's done a nice job throughout practice. And, he's been this whole season, he's been learning how to get yourself ready and understand the rhythm of an NFL week and what that looks like as a backup. And obviously now feel like he's ready to go in as a starter.
And then we get more from Kevin Stefanski. Why now? And what about that Shedeur Sanders fella?
Why now? Yeah, just my decision where I felt this decision was best for the football team.
Joe slide into the number 2 role?
Yes.
You decided to make Joe the backup and not Shedeur?
Yeah, Joe's the backup.
Oh, Joe's the backup. No reason. I think they said, who's the backup? I think they said, why? Pretty sure. Oh, Joe's the backup. Let's go to Dillon Gabriel and being named the starter.
I think it's funny because, I got a text from a good buddy of mine, and he sent me a picture of a fire station, and it's kind of like, why are you sending that, But when he sends it, he just lists the obvious, right? Like, doors are open, garage doors are open, things are ready to go, and they're just waiting on that phone call to respond surgically. And just what a great representation of the job I had and being ready for that moment. And I think, I smile because it's a moment you prep for and you are extremely excited for, but also got to realize that it's extreme focus. And that's what I've continued to harp on. But you wait for the perfect time, you're going to wait a whole lifetime. So for me, I've always been ready for every moment.
Let's get to Shedeur Sanders. I don't know how this is going to sound, by the way. This is Shedeur Sanders going back and forth with the media while saying nothing. Sanders said it's worth playing, so I'm going to play it here. I don't know how it's going to sound, though, because he's not saying anything, but you have the questions being asked. He was trying to be a mime during this interview.
Vocally?
Enjoying yourself and having fun?
That's what more. That's what do you think that's the show. Show to coaches having that belief.
Huh?
What can you say? How much is Joe important for you and Dillon?
All right, I'm good on that. That literally sounds like it's a phone in someone's pocket. By the way, the 49ers have officially now ruled out Brock Purdy for Thursday Night Football up against the Rams. So Brock Purdy is out. It will be the return of the Mac Jones starting for the San Francisco 49ers. Let's get to Kyle Shanahan with the whole Robert Saleh, Liam Cohen thing. Which coaches could beat Robert Saleh in a fight? Go ahead.
Just me. That's about it.
Dan Campbell?
Yeah, I would probably bet on Dan over a lot of people. Saleh's too nice usually, but it seemed like someone struck a chord later. I mean, the other day, but I don't think there's any fights going on. It was kind of comical now to look back at it.
I would pick Robert Saleh in a fight. I'd also pick Dan Campbell in a fight. I would also say Mike Vrabel. You know who also I think would be really good fighting? He's defensive coordinator now. They're open. Brian Flores. Okay, let me ask you this. Semifinal matchup. Brian Flores against Mike Vrabel. Who wins?
Vrabel.
Okay. Dan Campbell against Robert Saleh. Who wins?
Dan Campbell.
Mike Vrabel against Dan Campbell. Who wins?
Slightly Dan Campbell.
Okay. What would be the worst fight?
Pete Carroll would be one.
That'd be pretty bad. Mike McDaniel against Pete Carroll. Liam Cohen.
You know, I think Liam
Cohen against Brian Callahan I think would be a good scrap.
Brian Schottenheimer versus Kyle. Yeah.
Let's see. Anyone else? Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay. That'd be like a good GQ fight. Ben Johnson against Kellen Moore would be interesting. You know, probably be a good fighter. Now that Raheem Morris could probably scrap.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Jim versus John.
Harbaugh? Oh.
Harbaugh on Harbaugh crime.
Yeah, a little brotherly fight at the table. Oh, you know who's also probably underrated? Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
And wasn't Sean McDermott a great wrestler?
Possibly.
I'm pretty sure Sean McDermott wrestled.
I feel like D'Amico Ryans might take the whole cake, though.
Oh, you know what? Damn. Okay, ready? We're going to do this real quickly.
Wait, hold on. Can we get an Andy Reid, Pete Carroll?
You know, in
octogenarian versus octogenarian.
You know Billy Madison. Remember the blob in Billy Madison with the purple mask, and he fell on someone and then killed him. That would be Andy Reid in that case. So D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, Saleh, Flores, Vrabel. Who else? D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, Robert Saleh, Brian Flores, Mike Vrabel. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got to give me 2 more here. 2 more. We already got them. Anyone else? We got to get 3 more options. I think 3 more or 2 more here. I want to get to 7. 1,
do we
2,
want to
3, 4,
go
5. 5. We got to get 2 more.
Sean McVay.
Oh, Sean
he's
McDermott.
small.
Sean McDermott. Thank you. McDermott. Nah, not McVay.
He's built. He's jacked.
Nah. Sean McVay's not fighting anymore. Let's go Dan Quinn. We'll go DQ. Oh,
Todd Bowles?
Tomlin? Nah.
Oh, he's getting older. Todd Bowles?
DQ or Mike Tomlin?
All right. DQ.
Okay. DQ. Okay. I'll give D'Amico Ryans a bye just because the order they had. Stu, Dan Campbell or Dan Quinn?
Dan Campbell.
Okay, so he'd be moving on. Robert Saleh or Sean McDermott?
I will go Robert Saleh.
Okay. Brian Flores or Mike Vrabel?
Vrabel.
Okay. Vrabel or D'Amico Ryans? That's a good fight.
It is.
Good fight.
I think I'll go Vrabel.
Okay. Dan Campbell and Robert Saleh?
Dan Campbell.
Okay. And then you're going...
I'm still going Campbell, yeah.
You're still going Campbell. Okay. All right. That's how we'll do it. So Dan Campbell would be our fighting champion right there for coaches. Let's go to Vic Fangio. He had a rant about the ball and long field goals this year. Go ahead.
These kicking balls that they changed this year have drastically changed the kicking game. Field goals in particular. So it's almost like they need an asterisk here, like it was the live ball era, or the asterisk for those home runs Bonds and Sosa and McGuire were hitting.
It's like basically accusing this is like steroids pretty much. All right, that's an interesting one from Vic Fangio. Here is Sean Payton on why he voted for the tush push.
The reason I stood up in favor of is pretty simple. If the powers to be don't want it for aesthetic reasons or competitive reasons, or it's hard to officiate, etc. But I've been involved in those meetings for a long time, and when all of a sudden health and safety was pulled into that, which might be the safest play in football, my bullshit nose kind of went up. And so, look, it's a quarterback sneak. It's a well-run quarterback sneak. And when you really evaluate it, it's more the technique of the sneak than the push. You go all the way back to Green Bay against Dallas in the Ice Bowl, and frickin' Bart Starr crosses the goal line with someone pushing a little bit behind him. So I was one that was in favor of leaving it alone.
Let's go to Aaron Judge. The Yankees are down 0-1 to the Boston Red Sox. Game 2 elimination game for the Yankees tonight. We'll see if the Red Sox could say goodbye to them. Aaron Judge says Garrett Crochet, after his performance last night, is the best pitcher.
He's the best pitcher in the game. He's going to work all his pitches. Work a little bit more off speed in there early on, but we got the Volpe homer, but couldn't really, and we got guys on there do much after that.
I would say Scooby-Dooby-Doo is the best pitcher in baseball. I think Crochet is the second best pitcher in the AL. I think Scooby-Dooby-Doo would be number 1. Skeens is phenomenal. I would probably go Scoobo 1, Skeens 2, Garrett Crochet in at number 3 right now based off this season. Let's go to Max Fried. Was he upset getting taken out in the 7th inning by Aaron Boone?
I mean, I'm gonna stand until I get the ball taken from me. I wanna pitch as long as I possibly can, and when the ball gets taken out of my hands that's what it is.
So Padres up 3-0 against the Cubbies. Cubs up 1-0 in this series. It's in the top of the 6th. Yankees and Red Sox coming your way at 6 p.m. Eastern. Reds and Dodgers at 9 p.m. Eastern. Ohtani with the 2 home runs last night, and the Dodgers win. And the Guardians did find a way to win the game today up against the Tigers to force a Game 3. Cleveland did win 6-1. Finally, Steve Kerr entering the final year of his contract.
I'm very comfortable just, going into the season with a year left. I'm so aligned with Mike and Joe. There's no reason for discussion, concern. This is kind of a point in our relationship where it's like, let's just see how it is at the end of the year. And I love my job. I love what I'm doing every day, and can't wait to get to the building. And hopefully I'm here for another few years. But I think it makes sense for the organization and for me just to see where this thing is at the end of the year.
I still think he's there until Steph Curry leaves. I do. I think he'll leave when Steph leaves. Now, if they make him make a decision or play a big part in a decision on getting one of those core dynasty guys out, then I think that could be it. Because you look at Bob Myers, why did he leave? He left because he didn't want to get rid of a guy like a Draymond Green or a Klay Thompson, et cetera, et cetera. So Klay's now in Dallas. Steph's still in Golden State. Draymond's still in Golden State. I think as long as Steph and Draymond are happy and they're in Golden State, Steve Kerr will stay there. But if not, maybe TV hits him back up and we have another replacement in that ESPN booth post Jackson and Van Gundy.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, away we go. Hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. It is a Wednesday. Anthony Lima going to join us coming up 5:20 p.m. Eastern time from 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. We'll get his reaction to everything that happened with Shedeur Sanders today with the whole mime stuff. Joe Flacco being quarterback number 2, and now Dillon Gabriel being quarterback number 1. By the way, when I say that, with all that mime stuff, it's kind of funny. It's funny. It's obviously unprofessional. But Shedeur Sanders, a lot of people are saying it's because of the response to basically Rex Ryan telling him to shut up and just go to work. So he was just mouthing things to the media today, but the timing of it did not look great, especially when you had the whole Dillon Gabriel starting announcement, and also the fact that we're talking this much about a third-string quarterback is never good, and you never want the third-string quarterback to be a distraction. But here we are. So Anthony Lima will tap in with us from Cleveland to talk about the state of the Cleveland Browns. But it is a Wednesday, so it is a Take 5 Wednesday. I give you my top 5 teams in college football in the NFL, and we get to that in 3, 2, and 1.
As the dust settles from last week's games, it's time to look at which teams are rising and which are falling.
And there's an interception.
Zach ranks his top 5 NFL and college football teams on this week's edition of Take 5, only on the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, let's start things off I'll go college first. This was the toughest college one I've had to do so far. I knew I was putting 1 and 2. I was curious about the rest. I really knew I was doing 1, 2, and 3. 4 and 5, I thought about 4 teams, and I had to only pick 2. So in at number 5, I ended up going with Alabama. They got smothered week 1 by Florida State. Since then, they've been a really good football team. I thought that Alabama or Georgia after this weekend, one of them, I would catapult them into my top 5 and maybe move them a few spots up from 5. But I'm going to put Alabama right in on 5. I like what I saw out of their defense. Big stop on Gunnar Stockton. Ty Simpson, I'm believing in. I want to be all back in on Alabama, but then I remember last year, right, Alabama beat Georgia, and then they lost to Vanderbilt. Well, this year, they beat Georgia, and now they have Vanderbilt again. So let's see how much growth there actually is. But I'm a fan of Kalen DeBoer. I'm a fan of Ty Simpson. I like that defense. So I'm going Alabama in at number 5. Next up, he joined us on the show yesterday. Marcel Reed, really good. His 2 wide receivers, really good. Concepcion having a nice little run. And then also you have the other receiver that did transfer in from Mississippi State that's been pretty hot to start off this season. And also that defense looked really good last week too. And Mike Elko, I think, is a good coach. So the combination of Marcel Reed, Le'Veon Moss, Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver, I think it's a solid team. You know, they went on the road. They beat Notre Dame. Auburn, not that they're very good, but they're no slouch. They got Mississippi State this week. They'll probably end up beating them. They'll probably beat Florida. They'll probably beat Arkansas. And then they're going to play LSU at the end of the month. I like where the Aggies are at right now, so I'm going A&M in at number 4. In at number 3, I'm rocking and rolling with the Miami Hurricanes. Carson Beck's been a good story, and Mario Cristobal's been a good story as well. So I'll put the Miami Hurricanes in at 3. The Ducks of Oregon, they were slaughtering teams. They just needed to go up against a great team or a team that was very good, a team that was highly ranked. They did that up against Penn State. They were crushing them 17-3. Then they gave up their lead, and it was tied going into overtime. Back and forth for the first overtime. Second overtime, you score on one play, and then boom, the next play, you make the interception up against Drew Aller to go into that environment in Happy Valley and win. Very impressive. Dante Moore is looking like he's the best quarterback in the country. So I put the Ducks in at number 2, and then in at number 1. I know they haven't played really anyone for a while, and a lot of people thought, including myself, I thought that Ohio State was going to beat Washington, but I thought it could be a close game, a trap game, and they ended up winning 24-6. So I'm not going to get giddy over Ohio State, the fact that they beat Grambling 70-0 and Ohio 37-9. But before the season, a lot of people thought Texas was maybe the best team in the country, and that defense for Ohio State was sensational in stopping Arch Manning and company. So I'm going to put still the Ohio State Buckeyes in at number 1. So my top 5 college teams: in at number 5, Alabama; in at number 4, Texas A&M; in at number 3, Miami; in at number 2, Oregon; and in at number 1, I'm going with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Samter, speak now, forever hold your peace.
How about we go with another SEC team, Ole Miss, after that upset?
I like Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss will actually be a playoff team this year. Trinidad Chambliss, I am becoming a big fan of his, especially the last 3 weeks. He's looking like he's a big-time quarterback. When I look at the tiebreakers here, you look at an Ole Miss. I know they don't have a loss in the season, but before this game up against LSU, they played Georgia State, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tulane, and then they just played LSU. So LSU with Nussmeier not 100%, a defense that are very good, an offense that can't do anything this year. Am I more impressed with Ole Miss beating LSU or Alabama beating Georgia? I was more impressed with Alabama beating Georgia over Ole Miss beating LSU. So that's why I had Ole Miss. They were a team that I considered. I had them in on Tuesday, but when I gave it more thought, I didn't feel comfortable leaving Alabama out. So that's why I don't have Ole Miss in the top 5.
How about Oklahoma?
It's a quarterback concern. I know they were off this past week. They'll get back in action this week. So the bye week came good at a good time with John Mateer being on out. They beat Michigan, who's solid. They beat Auburn, who's fine. I'll see what they do in Red River on October 11th. But without having John Mateer, it makes it tough for me to evaluate that football team and say that, hey, they're a top 5 team in college football right now.
You did mention Red River. How about Texas?
No, not Texas, because I just don't know what Arch Manning is. And in their only legitimate game of the season, they lost. I'm not going to put them in the top 5 with a loss. And they've also only played San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston after that. They have not been able to do enough for me to consider putting them back in the top 5.
Your favorite team and favorite coach? Penn State.
Penn State played Nevada, FIU, Villanova. And then they actually played a legit team, a very good team, maybe a team that could win a national championship this year in Oregon, and they came out flat in front of that vaunted whiteout crowd, 110,000 people, so they were down 17-3. They didn't run the ball enough, especially in overtime. Drew Aller is not a big game quarterback, and James Franklin is not a big game coach. So Penn State is a definition of good, not great, not elite. To me, I'm looking for very good, great, elite teams in my top 5. Penn State is just good.
And what about the guy who just wins, and that's Curt Cignetti in Indiana?
You know, I actually did think about them because what they did to Illinois a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, they just smothered them. But then they came back against Iowa, who's good, obviously, with Kirk Ferentz. But Iowa's now 3-2. They lost to Iowa State and Indiana. But that game was just too close for my liking. So Illinois, yes, they blew them out. Then Iowa was a little bit too close for my liking. Coming up next week, they play Oregon at Oregon. If they beat Oregon at Oregon and Eugene, I will not only have Indiana in my top 5, I will have them pretty high up on that list. So it's a heck of a story with them being 5-0. Fernando Mendoza's Heisman candidate right now. But that game being close up against Iowa, I'm just trying to figure out, is Indiana good or are they great? So that's why I kept them out of my top 5 for now. All righty, let's go to the NFL. We'll see what happens with Bucky Irving. I know it was their first loss of the season. Trying to find the 5th was very tough here. 1, 2, 3, 4 was not that difficult in the NFL. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. Even with all the injuries that they had in that one as well, they were still able to make a valiant comeback up against the Philadelphia Eagles. So they beat the Falcons, the Texans, the Jets. I know neither of those teams are world beaters this year, and the margins weren't that great. But I like how complete at times Tampa Bay is looking, and with how many injuries they had with no Mike Evans in that game, to end up coming on back and almost taking down Philadelphia, having a chance to do so and only losing 31-25. I'm going to put the Buccaneers in the top 5. I may begrudgingly do that. It's nothing against Tampa. I just didn't really love a 5th team this week, if I'm just being transparent. Then I'm going to put the LA Rams in at number 4. I know that they could have easily lost that game up against the Indianapolis Colts if Adonai Mitchell just wasn't in the game. And if the Colts said, oh, we're not only going to put 10 guys on the field at the end, but I look at Matthew Stafford, I look at Puka Nacua, I look at that defense too. There's a lot of things I like. They're probably going to beat the 49ers on Thursday as well. On Thursday Night Football now with Brock Purdy officially be ruling out. And it's going to be Mac Jones starting at quarterback. McVay's one of the best coaches in the sport. You could argue just as easy as they lost that game up against the Eagles, they should have definitely won it with how they choked it. So with that being their only loss, I'm not going to ding them too much. I put the Rams in at 4. The Lions, what they did really 2 weeks ago up against the Baltimore Ravens was very impressive. Then they beat up Cleveland pretty damn good. Even if it wasn't the prettiest thing, they still won 34-10. After losing to Green Bay, they smothered the Bears 52-21. They beat the Ravens 38-30, and that was a good performance for Aiden Hutchinson in that one, and Muhammad too. And then they beat Cleveland 34-10. They play the Bengals this week. I'll actually be doing that game on Compass Media Networks. You can listen nationally. They're going to beat the Bengals as well. So they're going to start the season 4-1. Gibbs, Montgomery, Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Goff, Laporta. There's a lot of names there, so I put the Lions in at number 3. In at number 2, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, it wasn't that clean up against the Saints. I get it, but I don't know how much that the Bills were actually alive in that one. Sure, they had some extra time to get ready for it with the long week because they did beat the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. But before that, the Bills came on back. They beat the Ravens, and the Ravens are 1-3. They beat the Jets. They beat them up pretty good by 20 points. I look at Josh Allen. If it's not this year, I don't know when it's going to be for him to get out of the AFC. Because look at the state of the AFC. I know the Chiefs got back on track last week, but they are 2-2. The Ravens are 1-3. Burrow's out for the year with the Bengals. Are we going to really think that the Colts are going to the Super Bowl? No. The Texans, they are, one win on the season, and it's up against Tennessee. I don't think the Patriots are ready. The Steelers are solid. Don't get me wrong. They're 3-1, but I'm not really impressed with them. So I ended up putting the Bills in at 2, and if they don't end up getting to the Super Bowl this year out of the AFC, I don't know when they will ever do so. And then in at number 1, We could bitch how it looks. Oh, the offense is boring. Blah, blah, blah. A.J. Brown isn't happy. Blah, blah, blah. The Eagles are 4-0 after winning a Super Bowl. Yeah, it wasn't pretty against Dallas. They were the better team up against Kansas City. You had the epic comeback up against the Rams, and then you beat a very good Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. So I put the Eagles in at 1. So Bucks 5, Rams 4, Lions 3, Bills 2, Eagles 1. That's my top 5 for this week. Samter, speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right, how about the 3-1 Steelers?
That was the toughest one. I sat there and I said, Bucks, Steelers, Bucks, Steelers, Bucks, Steelers. And I ended up going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Steelers won losses to the Seahawks. It doesn't look like a bad loss. I didn't love them in that game up against the Seahawks in week 2. The Steelers one loss up against the Seahawks. But the thing is, Tampa's one loss was to Philadelphia. I just think it's a better loss. All right, the Steelers beat the Jets, so be it. The Steelers beat the Patriots. It wasn't that clean of a product, so be it. And then they beat Carson Wentz. So the Steelers, in a weird way, they're probably going to win the AFC North now with the Ravens being 1-3 and the uncertainty with Lamar Jackson. I'm not buying the Bengals. Obviously, I'm not buying the Browns. But the teams that the Steelers have beat, I don't think it's been anything that special. You beat Justin Fields. You beat a Patriots team where Ramondre Stevenson had butter on his fingers. And then you beat Carson Wentz. So you'd rather be 3-1. I just think Tampa Bay is a better team and a team that I would fear more than the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why I didn't put Pittsburgh in there.
How about the Chargers? I know they lost to the Giants, but
it's because of that loss. The Chargers were one of the more impressive teams for the first 3 weeks. You beat 3 divisional teams, right? Your 3 divisional rivals. You beat the Chiefs. You beat the Raiders. You beat the Broncos. And the Broncos, you were very similar going into the season. And then you're playing the Giants with the rookie, right? Making his first start. And even though I don't know if these are the same old Chargers, that is a game that makes me say same old Chargers. So I have to refrain from putting the Chargers in my top 5 for at least a week when you lose to the New York Giants.
All right, let's look at the 49ers.
I just don't know who's going to play quarterback each and every week. Now, we know it's going to be Mac Jones on Thursday night, but one week it's Brock Purdy, then it's Mac Jones, then it's back to Brock Purdy, then he gets hurt, and then it's back to Mac Jones. And I know that they were 3-0 even with all those injuries. Do they have a great win? Seattle, New Orleans, Arizona, no. And you just lost to Jacksonville, who I don't think the Jags are really all that good. And somehow they're 3-1. So I think it's a health problem with the quarterback and then Bosa and then other injuries as well. It's tough for me to really believe in that football team.
All right, let's look at Hickey's Colts.
It's the sloppiness. I really wanted to keep them in the top 5, but then I said to myself, hey, is losing to the Rams really all that embarrassing? No. So I was about to put the Colts, right? I told you Steelers and Bucks, and I ended up going Bucks. I almost put the Colts in there. But then I said to myself, how can I put a team in the top 5 where you had Adonai Mitchell make 2 mistakes in the game where he fumbled the ball out of the back of the end zone, then had a hold that prevented a Jonathan Taylor touchdown, and then you had another opportunity, right? 3 chances, and the game-winning touchdown with Tutu Atwell and his lone catch of the game for 80-something yards only had 10 guys on the field. That's sloppiness right there. So I feel like they could be a top 5 team, but when you lose a game like that, you're not deserving of being in the top 5.
All right, staying in the South, the Jags.
I know they're 3-1. I just can't buy into that team. I like Brian Thomas Jr. Last year to this year has been different. ATN, I think, is a criminally underrated back. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if I'm going to get each and every week. Do I think the Jaguars are really top 5 good? No, I do not. And I would not be surprised at the end of the year if we're looking at them and we're saying, okay, that's definitely not a playoff team, even though they're 3-1 right now. And I don't know how they're using Travis Hunter. A nice catch. But I just think that's a team that the record says they're good, but I don't think they're actually that good.
And then last one for me, the 3-time defending AFC champion Chiefs started at 0-2. Now they're 2-2.
It was an impressive effort. I got to see more. You beat the Giants, sure. You beat the Ravens. Give them credit for that. Even though Lamar got banged up, but the game was practically already over. Your 2 losses, when you look at the teams you played, it's not horrible, and the Chargers or the Eagles. But you prevented the ship from sinking. You're now at 2-2. honestly, if some things even out and they beat Jacksonville this weekend, and then you go beat Detroit coming up in 2 weeks, they're definitely going to be back in the top 5. They could be back in the top 5 this time next week. But I just want to see a little bit more consistency from Kansas City before I sit there and say, okay, they're back into being in the top 5. So my top 5 teams this week in the NFL and college football: Bama 5, A&M 4, Miami 3, Oregon 2, Ohio State 1, Bucks 5, Rams 4, Lions 3, Bills 2, Eagles 1 in the NFL. Take 5 Wednesday in the books. Anthony Lima from The Fan in Cleveland going to join us on the other side. We'll get his reaction, everything Shedeur Sanders, and also Dillon Gabriel being announced as the starting quarterback for the Brownies today.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. Dillon Gabriel going to be starting for the Cleveland Browns this week versus the Minnesota Vikings. Joe Flacco is in at quarterback 2, and then in the number 3 spot is still going to be Shedeur Sanders. Anthony Lima does a great job. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima, 92.3 The Fan, and Anthony is kind enough to join us right now. Anthony Lima, how are you, my friend?
Gelb, what an honor and a pleasure to be joining you on the Infinity Network. It's an incredible place. It has some of the best freestyle rappers known to mankind. I know I'm talking Nas. I'm not talking Twista or Crazy Bone. I'm talking the Shep Dog, David Shepard. So anytime I get to share the airwaves with that dude, I am absolutely falling in love.
Look at you stirring the pot. I absolutely love that. Hey, I hate to sandbag you with the question right out of the gate. But I really do love you coming on today because I'm sitting there. I'm like, who can we bring on from Cleveland? And we had a few options. I eventually said, what about Anthony Lima? I always like his opinions. My producer, Michael Samter, goes, won't come on with us. I go, what do you mean Anthony Lima won't come on with us? He goes, I've been texting him for 3 years, and he hasn't got back to me for 3 years. I go, come on, Samter. I will text Anthony Lima. Within 10 seconds, we have Lima booked on the show. Samter not happy with you.
So I understand that he probably feels like I'm big timing him. Here, you said 3 years. It coincides exactly with the birth of my daughter. So I was well known in Cleveland for living the single life for many years. Those days are over. And so it's really hard to get anything accomplished in this house. I had to run downstairs because I got 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 20-month-old upstairs who are none too happy. They just want to go outside. They did not enjoy watching Guardians baseball evening up the series against Detroit. Who knew? Who knew a $100 million payroll could put you in position to vanquish the Detroit Tigers and their 6 All-Stars?
You know what? I've never had a talk show host just back up the bus and throw their kids underneath the bus.
Yeah, they deserve it.
To basically get you at. That was brilliant.
Listen,
Absolutely brilliant.
Don't believe anybody on Instagram about their fall trips to the apple orchard with their kids. Listen, they will say they were there for 2 hours and made so many memories, so many great moments, and it'll be all over Instagram, well documented. The reality is 8 minutes in, they wanted to strangle their kids and never again. But they got to do it for the Instagram. So don't let them lie to you. It is tough out there when you're in the trenches.
Anthony Lima here with us. All righty, I know that this was all talked about yesterday, but the official announcement came today. What is your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns moving off of Joe Flacco and going to Dillon Gabriel this upcoming weekend?
Look, everybody in Cleveland is ecstatic, Zach. They say it can't possibly be worse. And if you look at the numbers, Flacco is bottom right there with Cam Ward in all the metrics, all the analysis. But I also see with those same numbers right now, arguably one of the bottom 5 offensive lines in football, wide receivers getting the least amount of separation. He was pressured the most in the NFL last week. So you tell me, is that a recipe for, forget about a first-round draft pick, forget about a first overall draft pick. How about we talk about an overdrafted 5'9" draft pick that was taken in the 3rd round that most around the league seem to have him in the 4th or 5th round? That's who's going to have the very difficult task of having a short week. Remember, travel week for the Browns. They basically had a shortened practice today. They're flying to London, and then they're going to do walkthroughs the rest of the week. So good luck. I'm always told by fans when quarterbacks struggle and they're desperate to get to the next one, can't be worse. It can't possibly be worse. Let's wait and see, because buckle up. It could absolutely get worse against a Brian Flores Minnesota Viking defense.
But they had to play, and I understand what you're saying. They had to play one of these youngsters because as a fan, it would excite me to zero to see Joe Flacco play. Just like I'm not a Giant fan, but I said to Giant fans for the last 3 weeks, there's nothing exciting about seeing Russell Wilson play. You at least get to see your future. And my football team, right, they threw out Jacoby Brissett for the first few games last year behind a garbage offensive line, no wide receivers. No one can even name who the wide receivers were last year for the Patriots. And Drake May, I get it. It's a number 3 overall pick compared to Dillon Gabriel being a 3rd rounder. But, Drake May didn't get killed out there. So what else was Cleveland going to do?
Yeah, same thing. Baker Mayfield, when they had Tyrod Taylor back then, he got a few games and got injured. Then they went to Baker.
After the Hugh Jackson promise, yeah.
Right. So the clock is always going to be sped up in these situations. There's no doubt. Albert Breer has the list. I have it pinned, somewhere in my bookmarks on social media where the first-round picks go. Well, we've also seen Brock Purdy got forced into action, I think, about 9 games in. I think Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew played almost a full season in his first year as a 6th-round pick. So eventually, yeah, you're going to get to it. But here is the rub. They had a crazy, bizarre 4-quarterback, quote, competition where they were going 2 guys, Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, for the starting job, and then Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel for the backup job. When have you ever heard of anything like that? They jettisoned Kenny Pickett because he had a hamstring injury, or most think that was the organization's number 1 guy on the depth chart. But because of the injury, he ends up getting traded. And so Joe Flacco starts the beginning of the season, a gauntlet schedule. We all knew it was going to be brutal. I think he got no help whatsoever last week, but, through one terrible interception, and him and Jerry Jeudy not on the same page. So now you have Dillon Gabriel, again, overdrafted, short, can't really see over the line, having a revolving door at left tackle and right tackle. Going up, like I said, against the Brian Flores defense. And remember, it's not like he got a ton of reps either, Dillon Gabriel, in the preseason, because they had 4 quarterbacks sharing 2 football fields. When have you ever heard anything like that?
So, Anthony Lima, why did the Browns like Dillon Gabriel so much?
We are curious, too. They are very analytically driven. And now that used to be, hey, they're trying to be on the cutting edge. Now all the NFL teams have some semblance of a analytical staff, some more robust than others. You look at the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Browns. They have like endless pages on their website of guys that work in analytics. And all of those analytics, have led them to this disastrous situation at quarterback because the Deshaun Watson move didn't make sense. I think they thought, very similar to maybe Sam Darnold last year in Minnesota, because a similar coaching tree there for Kevin Stefanski, that if with a dominant defense, and the Browns do have as good of a defense as anybody in the league, that you could win enough games to stem the tide, have a normal football season, evaluate all their good rookies, because for once it looks like they did assemble a very nice rookie class, that you could play ball control, that you could run the bootlegs, dumb down the offense and simplify it. So I think they thought Dillon Gabriel had a lot of those traits. He quarterbacked over 60 games, I think maybe the all-time college leader in games played, and they like his accuracy. But, rest assured, I heard the same stuff about DTR a few years ago, and he had over almost 50 starts, and he had athleticism, and he was slight, just like Dillon Gabriel, and he was taken in the 4th round. Dillon Gabriel should have been taken in the 4th round. So I caution everybody, because it was a disaster when DTR went out there. We'll see how it is this time around with a even worse offensive line.
Will you and Ken Carman tomorrow, when you do your show, will you actually say any words into the microphone? Will you be standing in solidarity with Shedeur Sanders tomorrow morning?
Listen, Shedeur pulled a very bizarre stunt today. Now, I think there's a method to his madness, because he's probably sick and tired of everybody around the league leaking his business. And, at first, I think it was split. I think people came in with preconceived notions of the kid, and I actually really like him. I mean, I think he has been really cool. He's been in the community. He's been helping out high school kids, college kids, because he hasn't been getting the opportunities with the Browns. Remember, he's 4th-string quarterback through most of training camp, and he's not said or done really anything that wrong. He's been asked questions in the locker room, so he's answered them. And then Rex Ryan says, if I know it, everybody knows it. This kid's not putting in the work. And then some other leaks have come out, not just from the Giants originally during the draft, but even the Browns were pretty clearly leaking things to get the fans off their back when they've had to try to explain why he's 4th-string. And then it's like every week there's even more. Why is there a chasm? Why is he getting a special set of downs at the end of every practice. I haven't heard that with Dillon Gabriel. So how far behind is he truly? They're making it seem like he's almost football illiterate. And that just doesn't make sense coming from a football family. I don't know how much Deion was there, but he coached him in high school and obviously went to coach him at 2 different universities. So something's not adding up there. But I will tell you, it's all the same. I haven't heard anybody say anything different than, hey, he's really having troubles when it comes to that. And I know there's some bad actors who I think, unfortunately, have other narratives and other agendas that they want to make the kid seem like a total jackass. I don't think he's that, but I think he's fed up with it. And I think he doesn't want Rex Ryan speaking for him. And so he pulls a stunt like he pulled today that doesn't seem to go over very well in the social media world, with the exception of the Shedeur truthers, of which they are hostile, they are loud, and they are in my mentions every single day.
Is he going to play at one point this year? Will he be a starting quarterback for the Browns at one point this year?
Yeah, look, unless Dillon Gabriel is sensational, which I'm not expecting. Zach, I don't think you're expecting. I don't think Dillon Gabriel's family is expecting him to finish out the year. But listen, if he's great, then, hey, problem solved in the interim. We'll see if they go back to the drawing board with 2 first-round picks next year in the draft. But, yeah, I think Shedeur will play. And then it's a guy, we don't even mention his name anymore. They took down all his signage, but he's one of the highest paid players in the league in terms of a cap hit this year. Have you seen the Deshaun Watson videos of him looking very agile? That's the thing now. Everybody has a season-ending injury.
Is Quincy Avery tweeting again? Oh, yeah. Is
Quincy
that
Avery's
happening?
And while he's trashing other quarterbacks, that could be coming out. And what is it? It's Kyrie Irving looking good. It's Jason Tatum looking good. You believe people in Boston, Jason Tatum was ready to play 2 weeks after his surgery.
Ben Simmons when he shoots jump shots, right, in the offseason. That's what it is.
Yeah, when he's not hanging out at Art Basel down in South Beach. So I don't know what it is, Zach. These guys are apparently marvels of medicine and surgery in the operating table, but he seems like he might want to play some football again, and that could be a problem considering the owner attended his wedding in the offseason, and fans didn't like that very much. They thought a divorce was coming sooner rather than later.
Now, I like Nathan Zagora. He's denied this to me, but I'm curious on your take, Anthony Lima. I still think Jimmy Haslam forced Berry and Stefanski to draft Shedeur Sanders. Do you agree with that?
100%, I believe it. And I've heard Nathan, he's a good buddy and at times a colleague. And so he'll take it to his grave. That wasn't the case. But I think the reality is, the Browns don't want that information out there. I think they love the fact that any Browns training camp coverage revolved around a 4-string quarterback that sold them a lot of jerseys, that made them a lot of money, that kept interest for a fan base that is otherwise apathetic. Zach, there haven't been in my adult life, there have not been tickets available to the home opener. There were tickets available. The waiting list is gone. We didn't have the Green Bay Packers waiting list, but we had a waiting list since 1999. That has evaporated. They're running ads for tickets as we speak continuously on the Browns radio network for tickets. If Shedeur Sanders gets a crack, I think that'll be solved quickly, at least for one game.
Is the Cleveland sports fan, are they still hung up on Baker Mayfield? Like, does it drive him crazy that he's gone on to be a successful quarterback the last 2 seasons or so?
Yeah, we're on the 7th installment, if you want to use Roman numerals, of the Baker Wars. And, we had the prequel, and then we had the awful Hayden Christensen years. And now we have a brand new version of the Baker Wars. I got to give it to him because I'm accused of running them out of town. And at the end, it was really bad. You should ask his teammates in the locker room how they felt about Baker at the time. And we can ask what the league felt about Baker at the time when nobody wanted him. And he could be had for basically a box of balls at the end of the, Carolina situation. So congratulations to him for maturing. He's talked about how he's evolved. He's got his body, back to where it needs to be. He's looking like a speedster out there in the open field. Now, we did get a throwback to 2019 interception at the end of that game trying to make a play against Philly. But to his credit, I'm seeing a Baker Mayfield I didn't think would exist. I thought he'd be on game day. I thought he'd have the Pat McAfee job by now. And instead, he's going to make a lot of money in this league. So credit to him. He's been a top 10 quarterback, maybe even higher. I've been blown away by his evolution.
Last thing I'll ask you, Anthony Lima, then I'll let you go back to being dad, even though you probably enjoy talking to me more right now.
I heard a big fall and a lot of tears. Are you calling social services on me right now?
No.
I need a mop to clean up whatever's happened up there.
You are Father of the Year right now. I feel like this gets lost, but Travis Hunter has basically done nothing so far.
Yeah.
that Browns trade, some people liked it, some people didn't, right? I think it was kind of 50-50. I do believe, though, as time is going to go on, more and more people are going to enjoy it. Mason Graham is one of my favorite players from this past draft. They got some other pieces, and they got the extra first-round pick, right? There's no buyer's remorse there. People got to be thrilled in Cleveland with the return.
I loved Mason Graham, and I went to Ohio State. Like, I am a Buckeye. We're not supposed to like.
Clip that. Let's get that out there to Ryan Day.
We're not supposed to like players from the state up north. And Mason Graham was involved in some of the most humiliating moments of my life that didn't involve my mom walking into me when I was in middle school in my room. So listen, for me to want Mason Graham, and I called it a week before the draft, I said the safest play is to trade down and take Mason Graham. I was vilified because Travis Hunter was this electrifying player. To me, he was not the best wide receiver in college football last year. That was clearly Jeremiah Smith. I can make an argument for maybe a few others. And I think we got a little caught up in the Shohei Ohtani without the gambling, this two-way aspect of football that we hadn't seen in a long time. And I think now you're realizing why we don't see it very often. Young man, Travis, you have amazing talents. You might want to focus on one side of the ball first. Once you get that down, get back to me and see if we can do the unthinkable and play both sides.
I got to ask, because people are obsessing with this in the YouTube chat right now. How did you know about the Shep rap game? How did you come across that?
How did we know? Listen, when somebody is out there freestyling with a flow like Shep, I mean, that stuff, there's a gravitational pull for those that used to be in the hip-hop community. And so when I hear something like that, that kind of lyricism that is something maybe, Jay-Z, Cameron, I could go through the list. I mean, I was a do or die fan, but, there's many out there. I don't know. Shep's right up there. Imagine with a little bit more work where he could be. I don't think the rap community wants anything to do with Shep Dog. He's somebody that I think, quite frankly,
let me tell you,
could put Eminem in a vice grip.
You don't know what you just did for his ego. Now he's going to be going around the newsroom here going, let me tell you, Anthony Lima said I could be like Jay-Z. I'm going to leave here. I'm going to go rap for the rest of my life. Oh.
Listen, I encourage creativity and those that can do while a bunch of others just talk about doing. That guy not only talks about it, he backs it up. And now we close the show with it every single day. I don't know if you knew that.
You guys play his raps at the end of the show?
Oh, yeah. Every episode. They can check it out on the Odyssey app and use the rewind function.
You know what? I'm going to do that right after this show. Anthony Lima, thanks so much. You're the best.
All right. See you, Zach. Thank you.
There you go. A-plus appearance from Anthony Lima. We got to work on our producing skills around here. This guy hasn't been on the show for this many years because he wouldn't return a text back to Samter. I'm going to be putting that on Lima. I'm putting that on Samter now. Oh, man, that guy is plugged in. He's got 7,000 kids, and he knows about Shep's rap game. Oh, my goodness gracious. That was really something. Update time. Let's get a man that loves David Shepard's raps. Here he is, the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. Bottom of the 8th in Chicago, and the Padres 6 outs away from evening the series as Mason Miller has been unhittable in his inning of work, topping 104 miles an hour. The Padres in front by a score of 3-0. They scored immediately, getting one in the first and two more in the fifth on a home run from Manny Machado. There will be a deciding game in one American League wild card series as the Guardians scored 5 in the 8th to beat the Tigers 6-1. It was Brian Rocchio snapping a 1-all tie with a home run, and then the big blow after that, Bo Naylor with a 3-run homer to put it out of reach. Brian Snitker has stepped down as Braves manager after 10 seasons on the job. Bruce Bochy is a free agent but won't return to the Giants as their manager, as Buster Posey said he's not a candidate. Brock Purdy has been ruled out for tomorrow night's game because of his injured toe, and Dillon Gabriel, the new Browns starting quarterback. I'm Rich Eck.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, this is Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. It's time to answer our Ask the Pros question of the day, and it's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Manny in Southern California says, Zach, who's the biggest star in the baseball postseason right now after Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge? That's a good question. My immediate reaction would be it's Tarek Skubal. That's what I would say. If you want to look around, Padres, Fernando Tatis Jr., I would say, right, for him with the Padres. Cubs, PCA, right? Probably PCA. Reds, who cares? Dodgers, Mookie, Freddie Freeman. You look at the Red Sox, Garrett Crochet. Tigers, we said Skubal. Guardians, Jose Ramirez. The Phillies, you go Bryce Harper. The Brewers, not really. Toronto, you could go Vladdy. The Mariners, you got some good player. Rodriguez is good, and you got some good pitchers.
Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, oh yeah, the big dumper.
Well, first year of really doing it, but
you're right. You got the big dumper. Are we missing anyone? Anyone egregious that we're missing, right? I think I just went through all of them.
I think you did.
It's Skubal, right?
I think it's Skubal.
And he's a huge pitcher. I know he doesn't have the most, we've had him on the show before. I didn't have the most personality in the world. But to me, it'd be Skubal. I think actually in all of Major League Baseball, outside of Ohtani and Judge, it would then be Skubal, and I would then say Paul Skeens, probably Skeens 3 and Skubal 4, just in terms of who I think when you look at stardom and then marketability. I don't know how much marketability Skubal has, but Skeens has a ton. But I would say that those are probably two of the other better players in Major League Baseball when you look around. Yeah, the big dumper's obviously a good one. The big dumper. All righty, so I will go with Tarek Skubal. So we have some of this A.J. Brown stuff. So A.J. Brown had the whole back and forth, and then he gave a little statement today when talking to the media in South Philadelphia.
First off, I want to start off by saying, obviously, Sunday after the game, I let my frustrations boil over. I didn't speak to the media. I had a chance to correct my frustrations, and I continued to let it boil over. That's on me. I take full accountability on that, posting that. My message on Twitter wasn't directed at anyone in the building. Not my coaches, not my quarterback, my GM, nobody. Like I said, I take full accountability. I have an open communication with all my coaches and with my quarterback as well. Me and my coaches, KP, Nick, we discuss weekly about trying to get this thing on the same page. So yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Do we have anything else for that? We got one more? All right, let's go. Let's hear it.
I think it's normal to have frustrations because of the standard that we hold ourselves to, and we have a lot of talent on offense, and to be honest, defense and special teams have been low-key carrying us, and it's just like we need to clean up what we need to clean up and get on the same page and play to the ability that we say that we can and be who we are called to be. So it's a standard that we preach, and so it's easy to have that frustration. I think it's fair to have that frustration, but like I said, I just can't let that boil over.
Here's the bottom line. This ain't the first time it's happened with A.J. Brown. It won't be the last time. Talking about a guy last year in a run to a Super Bowl is sitting on a bench during a playoff game because he's not getting the football and he's reading that Inner Excellence book. Like, come on. What are we doing here? And obviously his frustration was directed at someone. That's clear it's directed at someone. And it's someone on the team or, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's just a general feeling, but it's directed at your teammates. It's directed at the coaching staff. You want the ball more. You know what? I'll tell you this. Bet him anytime touchdown this week. There is no doubt about that. I am betting him anytime touchdown. I did that a few weeks ago up against the Rams after he complained, and it was like plus 180. I'll do that up against Denver this week. No doubt. I know it's Surtain and all that, but come on. I will bet them. I will bet him anytime touchdown. But this is what A.J. Brown is. There's a lot of divas at the wide receiving position. That's just what happens. If they don't get the ball, they're upset. If they get the ball, they're happy. So A.J. Brown's upset right now. Do I think A.J. Brown's forcing himself off the Eagles? No. Could there be a time where the Eagles say we don't want him anymore? Sure. Do I think that's happening this year? No, because of the dead cap. But I did see that Jeremy Fowler the other day was saying that some executives think that the Eagles can entertain a potential A.J. Brown trade in the offseason. If that's the case, welcome to New England. Come on down. Drake May, A.J. Brown. We'll turn that frown upside down. Oh, Shep, I'm a poet. You didn't even know it. How about that? Little freestyle with Big Zach after the show. I'm going to go eat a snack. There we go. Shep's going to sit there. And I didn't appreciate Gelb rapping. Did not appreciate him rapping. But the A.J. Brown stuff, how many times are you going to cry wolf? Seriously. It's the same thing over and over again. We just lived through this en route to the Eagles winning a Super Bowl. Like, what are we doing here? Just, maybe you don't need to post everything on social media, but he can't help himself. He can't. You always know a girl or a guy, someone it's always subtweeting or subposting, and you know it's directed to someone, but since it's not there yet, they're not explicitly saying who it is. They're like, oh, not what you think it is. You're crazy. I'm not. Come on. We've all been there, done that. You all have that one friend that just not happy, even though things are going great for the team. He's posting about this person or that person. It will survive. It will survive. Good show today. Big thanks to Samter. Big thanks to Stu. Big thanks to Ack. Big thanks to Anthony Lima. Big thanks to Hot Take Hickey for taking our abuse today. And also a big thank you to Danny Kanell. If you are celebrating Yom Kippur, hope you have an easy fast and obviously atone for all your sins in the next 24 hours. I got a lot of them to atone for. And we'll be back I'm off tomorrow, but I'll be back on Friday for a big football Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time, where we'll do NFL, college football, and also get into the big UFC card this weekend that I'm very fired up about. All righty, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you on Friday. Gresham tomorrow. Play that Backstreet Boys music, Stu. Get the big fella going. I'm Zach Gelb. I'm out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.